hookup when we do the group shot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Back at the audience shot.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. He's gonna bring the first topic. You don't know where you don't have directions.
Too many,
Yeah.
Oh, it's a trust problem, actually. And I speak to that a little bit.
You guys are looking for the first training?
Yeah.
I know them by face. So
Okay.
Do you want to make an announcement?
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
So we're going to give out the first training books to the first training people that came in. So I know you guys by face. So you're going to point out the
But can you hear me? Can you hear me?
working as well? Mic check, mic check. So how do I? Because I want to move around and. So which mic is working? Ooh. Which mic is working? Which mic is working? Which mic? Is this mic working? You can hear right now there? You can hear inside there?
No, he's hearing everything from inside. The audio is inside, so whatever you want to say.
So the audio is currently in a live stream right now?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. So as you can see, we got Mike right now. He's signing some books. Getting pretty intense, man. There you go, there you go. So you're looking forward to reading the book? Nice to meet you, Hanny. Awesome. Yeah, your first time? Okay, what are you looking forward to today's event?
I want to connect with other entrepreneurs, find out how to grow my business, networking, and just getting to the mindset of running a business successfully.
Awesome, welcome. Ariana?
Adriana.
Adriana, nice to meet you. Hanny. Nice to meet you. Awesome. Yeah.
10 years, 20 years, 30 years.
Yeah, I want to start doing it. Yeah.
So here's a good spot.
Listen,
Yeah.
you guys didn't bring habits.
Everybody here. This.
Where you?
So you got multiple cameras rolling? Okay. Yo. What's going on? How you doing, bro? Welcome. How you doing, brother? Oh yeah, welcome, bro. Thanks for being here, bro. Yes, sir, man. How you doing? Nice to meet you, bro. Yes, sir.
Oh, I didn't know it was like super tired, man.
Ah, no, you're good, man. You're good. Welcome. Hanny, nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you, bro. All right, so you got the whole crew right here?
Yeah.
Nice, man. There you go, man.
Like, they can last.
Yo, bro.
I just don't want to take it.
No. Actually, I want to start doing business. And I also want to real estate as well, to real estate investor.
Hey, what's
How you doing, brother?
Excuse me,
Thanks for coming, bro. Appreciate it, man.
All this, man.
Yeah, having fun? Yeah. Hey, good time. We got a lot of fun, man.
How you doing?
How you doing? Hanny, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah. Awesome. What are you looking forward to today's event?
Yes.
You looking forward to today's event?
Super excited.
Yeah.
Started following you, and I heard about this. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm super excited to be here.
So,
Was he filming?
yeah, we're actually live right now. Yeah, we're live. So, what are you looking forward to today's event?
I'm just hearing about just hearing the man in person at this event that you're putting on. So thank you so much. Like, we're honored to be here and excited to hear what's happening.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What line of business are you in? What are you currently doing?
Well, I actually sold a business last year, and now I'm just gonna see where life takes me in the next little while.
Wow.
My background's actually teaching. I'm a teacher.
Oh, nice.
I know.
What kind of business were you in?
It was like a beauty, like laser hair removal beauty clinic. So I'm from that, and now teaching kids, and let's see where life takes us.
There you go. You're here to network. You're here to learn.
Yes, here to always. As a teacher, I'm always learning. Okay, I'm always learning. I'm always trying to see what else.
That's
you know.
the best part. There you
Yes,
go.
yes.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah. This camera's rolling, eh? Okay. Okay. Thank you. I'll take a look at this. Yeah. You wanna bring it this in? Yeah. There you go. Okay. So I'm gonna get one guy. What's up, bro? How you doing, man? Nice to meet you, bro. Oh man.
Meet you in the
Yo,
flesh,
thanks for coming out, bro.
Cheers.
Yo, so we got another hustler in the building, man. Tell him, man, what's your name? What do you do?
My name is Daniel Samuel. I'm 25 years old and I'm a serial entrepreneur.
There you go, man. What line of business are you in? Who do you help?
I help all types of people. I specifically focus in like the investment space and yeah, just help people go from point A to point B.
Bro, you got a pretty remarkable story. You were actually a barber and then you got into the finance business. What made you to do that, bro?
Yeah, I was actually studying kinesiology, funny enough. I think I was telling you about this, but yeah, I was doing barbering because I love, you know, just cutting hair, helping people with their men's health because you know, you have those real talks.
Yeah.
And for me, I was just like, okay, this isn't providing the lifestyle I want. There's nothing wrong with it, but just like I had more of like getting out of that traditional way, right? And so for me, I was studying kinesiology and I wasn't in the best financial standpoint. I was like, you know what? I need to learn how to make my money work for me because in school, we're not taught that. You know, like how I was raised, it's like you work hard, become a doctor, pharmacist, whatever. But I was like, I can't do that, right?
What's the biggest like mindset shift that you had to take in order to start that business? Because right now they're sitting on the sideline, they want to start a business, but they're afraid or something.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just like understanding you got to find people who have what it is you want and listen to people who actually been to places you want to go, because your family, for instance, I've had this, like they won't understand it until be where you're at, you know. And I think that's something that's really hard to see because you have to shift your paradigm, because if you see that vision, you got to take it. God gave it to you for a reason.
100%. And you're also running a platform called Art. Tell me, how did that vision come about? Because you started at during COVID or right after COVID?
4.5 years ago. So that came to be with like all my other business partners who helped us all come together to co-found this. So essentially what we do is like, we wanted to create a revolution of free generations because the whole objective in today's world is like people need a source of income, especially in 2026. Like if you're not using this to, you know, make your money work for you, you're kind of living under a rock. And so what we've decided to do is like help create an ecosystem where someone that hasn't learned this type of skill set, they can come in and go from like beginner, intermediate to advanced and like live life on their own terms.
100%. If you had to go back when you're first starting, like Daniel, who was just, you know, hustling again too, what would be one piece of word of advice you would tell that person?
I think the biggest thing is, yeah, just not listening to people who have that what it is that you want, because that set me back for a couple months, just being real. I was like, is this what I'm supposed to do, God? You know, like, because you have that vision instilled in you. It's just like, you just got to go for it. Like, people might not mess with it at the beginning because they don't see what you see, but you got to take it. You got to take that risk. You just got to do it.
100%. You got to have that vision. What are you looking forward to today's networking event, bro?
Honestly, just to network with like-minded individuals. I know Winnipeg has a lot of like-minded events like these, which I'm happy that you do, because they need more things like this, because we're always typically having to fly out to like Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, but it's like we need stuff like this here. So I'm excited, bro. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it, but thanks for coming on, my brother. Respect, bro. Yeah, I had to throw it in there, man. Yeah, we're actually live right now, bro. So we on YouTube live, you know what I mean? We're just throwing it up, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, I appreciate it. What is your bro at?
Dad, you have to help this homie with
Oh, okay.
where we going?
There you go. Now, thanks for showing up, bro. I appreciate it. All right, bro. Yo, we got food as well, too, man. So you're more than welcome to eat. Yeah. Okay, everybody. We got a lot of food, man. We got a lot of food right now. You're more than welcome to grab something because we're gonna get started. So you might want to get something to eat, or do you want to do it after it? Yo, let's show them the food, man. We got a lot of food. I mean, come on now. Nigerian food. Yeah. You want to show them what we got?
I'll eat all of them.
Oh, there you go. My man Blake. What's up, bro? Good to see you, man. How you doing, man? Good to see you again. Good to see you. Awesome. Welcome. We're actually on YouTube Live right now. We're on YouTube Live. Yeah, you can go ahead. Yeah. So tell them a little bit about the food. So, yeah. You got Nigerian food. So tell them a little bit about the food.
So we have meat pie, we have jollof rice, we have puff puff, we have chicken suya, and we have barbecue with sorry, I want to see with honey garlic chicken.
There you go. There you go. Awesome, awesome. Tell them a little bit about your business too.
So my name is Elizabeth. Can you
right
hear
there,
me?
they can see
Oh,
you.
okay, here. My name is Elizabeth. I'm the owner of Plates for It. So Plates for It, Afro-Caribbean restaurant, Nigerian. My boyfriend is from the Caribbean. We sell the Caribbean food. I grew up in so that's where I got my Ghanaian heritage from. The restaurant is located on Dumoulin Street. I hope to see you guys there.
Thank you so much. Come on, Blaze, get you some water, bro. Don't worry, man. We're live, man. This is your show. Yeah. Yeah. So it looks like everybody's coming in right now. We're getting things together. Everybody who's watching at home, we're gonna get started soon. So don't worry. Everything is gonna come together. Yeah, you wanna just give us. Everybody at home, you're tuned in, man. We're just getting started. We got Mike Fata in the building. Mike Fata is right there. Manitoba Harvest sold his business for $419 million. We're gonna break that down. Before we do that, this is a pregame, as they say. Yeah. What's up, brother? How you doing? Good to see you, bro. Thanks for coming out, man. Yeah, oh man, they all gone. What are you looking for at today's event, bro?
I came here to network with people, like-minded person, especially in the area of scaling. Currently I'm in a phase of trying to systemize businesses, and I think I will get the most out of it from here.
Awesome, bro. Thanks for coming out, man. I appreciate it.
Same here.
Yeah. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, man.
Yeah, Hanny.
JP.
Nice to meet you, man.
you,
Nice
bro.
to meet you, bro. What line of business are you? Who do you help?
I'm a project manager with a design build firm.
Okay, man. Nice. How long you been doing that?
Actually, just for about a year. I was in real estate before then. Yeah, yeah.
Like real estate investing?
Real estate sales and developing. Yeah.
Nice, man. What made you decide to get into real estate? It's a huge. I'm also into real estate as well too.
I just always have been in love with design, watching communities grow, and so that's just kind of what naturally led me there.
Nice. But do you got any like rentals, any investments?
I don't right now. My dad had a large portfolio that I helped him manage back in the day, but I do mostly development and flip now. So,
What do you think about the current real estate market in Winnipeg?
you know what? I think it's awesome. I think Winnipeg is always a hot market. It moves with, it's always moving up a little bit slower than other cities, but we also avoid crashes. So it's always a safe bet, I think.
And if, let's say, for example, hypothetically, someone wants to start a business, because you say you started working with your dad. What are some things that you learned from him that you're able to apply into your business?
You know what? Don't try to get rich overnight, and really be smart about where you're investing, know your market, and take little steps.
100%. They say, man, you don't build a business in 1 year. You build it in 5, 10. So
Yeah.
that's a great example,
Yeah.
bro. Nice to meet you. Thanks for
Nice to
coming.
meet you too, man. Yeah, good job.
Yeah. There you go, man. Looks like we got a lot of people here, man. Yeah, man. So you guys can see the road, man. Yeah. We got quite some people in here, man. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? What's up, brother? Thanks for coming out again. I'm good, Daniel. What's up, bro? I know you're a realtor. Hey, what are you looking forward to today's event? Cause you back for another event, man.
Look forward to learning. You know.
Awesome. We're actually live right now on YouTube.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
There you go, man. Welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
bro.
thank you for having us.
I appreciate it, bro. Bro, you're like the tallest guy, man. With that kind of match, I'm like, I haven't caught someone that tall, bro. Hey, I want to kind of ask you some questions real quick. Yeah. What's your name, bro? What line of business are you in?
So I run a door-to-door company. We do pest control sales all over Canada and Australia.
What's your name?
Quinn.
Quinn. And how did you get into that business?
Oh man, like 10 years ago, it was my buddy was looking for a job. I found him a job, and then it was just kind of like a friend of a friend that kind of hooked me up with it. And yeah, we sold for a different company for many years, and then we started our own 6 years ago now. So
Door to door is not easy. What's one thing you had to learn about sales? Because sales, I believe it's the law of averages is so important. You know, you might get rejected 100 times, but you still got. What's one thing you had to learn about sales?
yeah, so everyone loves to buy, no one likes to be sold. Sales is the transference of belief and energy. So the biggest secret to be like an elite door-to-door salesperson is just not to be a door-to-door salesperson. And what I mean by that is you need to be a messenger of information, let people know like what you have, how it's going to help them, and how it can be of value, rather than like coming from like me. It's like, how can I help the customer? And if you do that and you're just a real person, it's like people buy into that energy. And rather than like trying to sell someone, it's like trying to actually help someone. And if you can do that, sales becomes pretty easy. So
it's a belief system. That's one thing you had to learn over the careers of, because door to door, you also, what other businesses do you run? Because I know you're also into real estate as well too.
Yeah, so we do, I'm just like an investor. So we build some duplexes and some fourplexes, and yeah, we expanded to Australia, so that was like a huge learning curve, just like going into a different country. Just with licensing laws, just everything that we kind of had to deal with over there. So pest control is definitely like the main thing, just use as a vehicle. And then real estate's like a passive thing that we kind of invest in, along with it. So
100%. Cool. What's one piece of word of advice you'll leave to a young entrepreneur who's listening to this message right now?
We become what we think about. Whatever you focus on, whatever you think about, ultimately will become your reality. So be very, very intentional with the words that you say to yourself, what you believe in, and what you put into your mind.
100%, bro. You got a piece of advice. You're coming out here to network. What are you looking for today's event? We got Mike Fata as a speaker.
Yeah, bro. Just meeting people, just connecting. People like you, people like this guy on the camera. Just here for fun, man. Yeah.
Bro, you're pretty tall, man. How did you get height? A lot of people ask you that.
I don't know, man. You're like the same height. I'm 6'5". I don't know, man. Just my mom, my dad. Thankful for them.
You play sports growing up?
Not really. I was like a skater, snowboarder my whole life. So yeah.
Awesome, bro. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it, bro. Respect. Yeah, this guy could be a linebacker. You never know, nah. You know I appreciate it, bro. We got Steve Secker in the building. We're actually live right now, man. Live right now, JD. We got freight brokerage right here. Man, we got a lot of salespeople, man. Steve, what are you looking for at today's event, bro?
Mike Fata is someone I've followed for a couple of years, and I'm just inspired by the fact that you, Hanny, got someone of this magnitude at the lounge. It's amazing.
There you go, man. I appreciate it, man. Tell them about sales and the power of not giving up, man. Because right now, the market is...
It's tough, and persistence matters, and that's the essence of this event, right? You bring someone out who's got a $420 million exit, 3 9-figure exits, because you never gave up on yourself and you continue to persist professionally and properly, and you put yourself out there and you weren't afraid to get rejected. And I do that every single day too. I go out, I talk to people in the market and they say, no. It just inspires me to get that next step,
100%. That's what it's all about. My brother, Steve. Steve has been supporting a lot of our events. I think he's on like many events. He just keeps showing up to the community, man.
And I mentioned special shout out here for Hanny. My wife has needed 2 new phones in her life with me, and we went to him, Hanny Mobile, both times, because he builds a relationship, he stays in touch, he came to our wedding, and just and connected, right? So it's all about staying in touch, staying hungry, being persistent, it's being a good man of God, and you'll be rewarded. So.
It's all about building relationships, man. 100%, man. Stay hungry. Let's go. Yeah. Hello, how you doing, Margarita? Welcome. Man, we got the LinkedIn queen in the house. Margarita, what's your name? What line of business are you in?
My name is Biz Mom.
What's your real name?
Margarita.
What
It means pearl. Pearl.
who do you help? What line of business are you in?
Right now, I have a social business. Like I'm This Mom's Club. It's one my passion, and my real business, LinkedIn and networking hack.
And how did you discover LinkedIn and the world of like connection? How did you get into that world?
Through my personal experience and suffer and pain.
Because you said Biz Mom, you're a mom. What's that journey been like? Because it's not easy running a business and doing things.
Yes, and that's what I was doing when I had my child very young, and I'm staying at home and doing my business and doing different projects. And I can tell like moms are real leaders because we manage systems at home with our kids, and that's entire startup that we're leading actually, aside of our regular maybe jobs or businesses. So we do full-time jobs.
And Margaret, you work with a lot of clients. People who are looking to get into LinkedIn, copywriting. What's one belief system that they have to shift in order to start posting on LinkedIn?
I think the first, and I'm really helping them to believe and to understand who they are. Because before you understand who you are, what value you bring, people will not resonate with you. So you need to be really clear in your message, in your goal, in your value which you bring to your clients or community, and then be passionate about it and be honest. People will feel it. Even with LinkedIn posts, people feel your energy and your message, and yeah, just be yourself. But it's hard sometimes to find yourself because we execute different roles. Especially if we work for corporate roles, right? We have a company, we have a role, and sometimes we lose ourselves. So my passion and my mission is to find your own voice as a professional, as a person, as an entrepreneur, and really showcase who you are. And LinkedIn is a perfect space, but it's not only about LinkedIn. I'm blending online and offline because right now offline is super important. Right?
What's one tip for networking? Anybody who's looking to build a network, what's one tip you can give them? Because you're all over, you're attending at every single networking event. I see you're showing up.
Yeah, showing up and be honest and be positive and try to help others. And people will feel it and they will resonate with you. Yeah.
100%. Margarita, you got some great piece of words of advice. What are you looking for today's networking event? We got Mike Fata as a speaker.
To be honest, I unfollowed Mike. No, I like what he's doing, but I'm so focused on female part of the business. I think we have different issues, we have different paths with men. And even today, you made this event, I'm sorry, on Friday evening. Every mom will spend time with your family and kids. And I know like a lot of people maybe have your family here, but majority are young entrepreneurs who don't have their families. So I'm seeing business should be more adapted to women, to motherhood, to parenthood, you know, because that's what we're lacking sometimes in the community. And that's why my Biz Moms is about, to actually have mom's voice more loud. So yeah, but no, Mike is doing a great job and I'm looking forward to hear his advice, but I have my own opinion about it.
Yeah.
And not every business is going to be that.
No, thank you so much, Margarita, for coming out. Like I said, this is unscripted. We're live. We're just shooting stuff up. Opinions are opinions, you know what I mean? You got your opinions, I got mine.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate it.
I already told it, but I'm supporting community. You're helping your team, your kind of clients, and you're helping community and people who need this space, and that's great. Thank you for doing this.
No, I appreciate it, Margarita. Thank you for always showing up. It's a pleasure. Yeah.
Let's take a picture because.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. She's the LinkedIn queen, like I said, you know. Alright, let's gonna get Mike on the shot. Yeah. Tight.
Well, we're here and we're doing things with and that's exactly why I showed up, because I come to all the Hanny lounges to support, not all of them, but most of them.
Yeah.
Because I want to see it thrive.
100%.
And that's what this place is all about.
Awesome, bro. I'm gonna get some water, man, because Steve can get going. There you go, bro. It's crazy. I'm gonna get Mike on the shot after. Wow, man, it's a lot of food, eh? I know. They're going. How you doing? Everything right? Just gonna get some water. Thanks for coming up. Good to see you again. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, we got man G now. Oh, what's up, Mike? How you doing, brother? Yeah, I want to ask you some questions, man. Yeah, you got some time? You wanna go mess up? Yeah. Man,
How you doing?
what's up, Mike? Yeah, we got a mortgage specialist. Another big dude, man. There you go. What's going on, everybody? So, who am I here with today?
Mike Schroeder.
Mike, what line of business are you? Who do you help?
I'm a mortgage broker. I help especially self-employed people looking to be real estate investors, and people with bad credit.
How did you get into mortgage specialist? Because there's so many different dynamics in real estate. Why a mortgage specialist?
Right place, right time. I was looking for a change. A friend of mine was in the industry. He gave me an opportunity, and then I ran with it.
And what's been the biggest shift for you to become an entrepreneur? Because there's a difference between a business owner and an entrepreneur.
To go read a book called Mastery, and this book was about becoming the master of your craft, no matter what craft you choose. It really inspired me to go really in deep as a mortgage broker, to not treat it like a surface hobby, to really treat it like a serious career. It gave me the skills to really go and help a lot of clients, and so it's about the pursuit of mastery. Every day I wake up and try to be the best mortgage broker I can be.
100%. Mike, I see you a lot too on Instagram and social media. You're always working out. Why is health so important, especially when it comes to building a business?
I expect to have grandkids and great grandkids, and someday I want to be able to be running, jumping, lifting, camping, hiking with my great grandkids. So I think generationally in terms of health. So leaving up an inheritance for your children and your children's children, I think health is the greatest inheritance that you can leave your family.
100%. You're a mortgage specialist, Mike. What are you currently looking at right now with the real estate market? How are things going with the market? We're going into spring right now.
You know, rates went up a little bit today, but to be honest, there's always opportunities out there. High rate, low rate doesn't matter. It's about buying the property that makes sense for you and for your budget today. The biggest opportunity that everyone always forgets about is house hacking. It's buying a house that has a rental component to it. If you're a young person, you're looking to get into a house today, find a way to rent out the garage, the spare bedroom, the basement. These are the ways you're going to turn a home into an income producing property, and that's really going to set you up for success.
100%. That was a great piece of advice, man. Mike, what are you looking for today's networking?
Right now, I'm looking to connect with high quality people. I like meeting people who know things that I don't know. So I love showing up and learning, and that's why I'm here tonight.
Awesome, Mike. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. We're going to do one more. Yeah. I probably want to get Mad G in there. Mad G, I want to get a quick shot with you, bro. Video with you? Yeah. We're actually live right now, Oris. We're currently live. We're on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Tell them what's the key to having a great mindset? Because mindset is so important. What's the key? Because you've been in business for so many years, Oris.
What's the key? You better have one, and it better be the right one. Fixed is not going to work. Growth definitely will. But you know, instead of the mindset aspect, you gotta have some focus and clarity. The mindset will figure itself out. You have no focus, no clarity. Good luck with that.
Funny enough, when I met Oris, I think almost 3 years ago, you gave me the book. I forgot what it's called, Mindset. It was called Mindset. Yep. And that helped me a lot, especially when I was first starting. What's the author's name? And tell them a little bit about how that book has made a shift in your mindset.
Well, I can't remember the lady's name, but she's published 3. I can get back to you on. What the difference is, life is simple. And any situation I get into, I have to first figure out what my mindset is. And mindset is, there's a fringe around it called limiting beliefs. So once you figure out what your mindset is, you figure out what the limiting beliefs, you have half a chance of getting above the line, lack of a better word. So there you go.
And Oris, you've been in so many different kind of, but to sum it up, who do you help? Like who do you help? What kind of entrepreneur do you help?
Any small business entrepreneur that's got a problem. If I can't solve the problem, my network can.
As you say, your network is your network. I appreciate it. What are you looking for at today's networking event? You came to a lot of events. You've been at networking events for so many years. Why is that so important for young entrepreneurs coming up?
Well, you meet the same people, and you've got to be in the room that kind of helps you, grows you, that kind of stuff. Why I'm here today is because the gentleman that's going to be making a presentation, I used to be in the cannabis world, This is more of the hemp world, and frankly, I want to see how it's evolved. I know he cashed out. Well, I did well on the stocks, so so that's about all I got to say.
There you go, man. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Yeah.
So I'll
Man.
send you the bill.
There you go. let me get Man G in there, man. So you got my brother Man G. Man G, you want to get on this side?
Yeah, no worries.
So we got Man G. Man G is a legend in the game, man. You can't talk real estate without Man G. What's going on, everybody? Who am I here with today?
Manjeet Rakra,
You go, Man G. What line of business are you? Who do you help?
real estate. So basically, people want to sell their house. They need to sell quickly. They need a different option other than the traditional route. Then we also have our consulting side where people just want to get into real estate. They want to learn. They want something other than their job. They want something for their future, for their family. So we help them too.
You got into real estate in 2008, which most people probably don't even know what year that was. But what's been like the key to sustaining business for that many years? What's the key to staying in business?
I think, the biggest thing is consistency. Like just doing the same thing over and over again. And I think this a big thing is to not getting bored of it, right? Like just keep reminding yourself why you got into it. And for me, it was freedom, it was lifestyle, and it was freedom of time. So just doing that over and over again. And that's the biggest key. It's just consistency and staying at it for the long haul. That's how you get good at anything.
100%. One thing I've seen about you, Man G, compared to everybody else, you've helped a lot of people in real estate. A lot of people nowadays, they don't want to share information. They feel like, oh, if I know this thing, he can take it, he can write it. What's like, how did you get to develop that mindset to get ready marketplace?
I think, it really comes back to what I've been given, right? It's someone taught me, and I think that's the biggest thing. So it's really in you to give, right? You want to be giving. You want to be. It's all out there, right? Like it's not like I'm sharing it. A lot of people are sharing it, right? There's information is more out there, but I think so that part doesn't scare me. It's just people need to take it and implement it as well, right? Like. You want to share it. Some people will take the advice and run, and some people will listen and do nothing.
How much have you done in business transaction, like all together in real estate?
We've done around 100 deals since we've been doing it.
There's someone right now on the sideline who wants to get the next deal. What's one advice you would tell them right now?
I'd say, first off, I'd say like everything comes down to two things in real estate. Is one, like you need to know the look. Wholesalers, connecting with people off market deals, to exclusive listings, or doing your own marketing. So you got to get good at finding the deal. And I think the second one is fund, right? Whether you're funding it with your own money or you learn how to source capital. Sourcing capital is like the number one key in business.
100%, man. That's what it comes down to, man. G, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on, bro. Yeah, what are you looking for today's networking event?
I'm looking forward to hearing from the speaker and just hearing his story and meeting all these great people here.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's been in business for so many years. He's still showing up. So that shows you, man. Your network is your net worth. Come out, connect. My brother.
Man.
Respect. Yeah. We'll do one more, bro. Huh? Yeah. All right, Mike. Let's do one more interview and we're gonna get started. Yeah. What's going on, everybody? I'm here with today.
Mike Fata.
Mike Fata. Who do you help? What line of business are you in?
Nowadays, I'm an investor, advisor, growth coach, and mentor. I help entrepreneurs grow probably like 5 to 50 or 10 to $100 million in the CPG business.
CPG business. What? How did you start that business? How much did you sell it for?
I got into the CPG business in 1998. I pioneered hemp foods. We grew that business to over $100 million over 21 years, and we sold it in 2019 for a $419 million transaction.
Wow, $419 million. In your book, Grow, you talk about in chapter 2, you talk about giving first before you become successful. Why is that so important?
Helping others is the best way to help ourselves. If we're doing something to help other people, we're naturally going to be successful. We're naturally going to have, I think, a great life because we're living our purpose. But help other people. Make other people money, you're going to make money. Help other people get healthy, you're going to get healthy. you know, over and over and over again.
100%. And Mike, your story is pretty remarkable. You were 300 pounds. What's the shift to go from 300 pounds to the man you are today? What made you decide to do that?
Yeah, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, you know. I wanted to feel good, and I believed that I could feel good, and I made a wholesale lifestyle change. I'm still changing my life 30 years later, but this is 30 years being on from 300 pounds down to like 200 pounds, losing 100 pounds of weight. It's a lifestyle. Every day, like eating healthy, sleeping good, hydrating, exercising, like living a healthy lifestyle while creating business and doing all the other things in life, you know? We got to take care of ourselves first.
100%. Mike, in your book, you talk a lot about your mother in the introduction about how she was the one who essentially was a hard worker. She worked a lot, and you're able to see how she was developing. And then she essentially in 2019, some things happened. Tell me, why is your mom so important in the journey that you've been into?
And my mom was my biggest mentor, and in a way that she worked her butt off as a single mom. She knew exactly what she had to do. I say she broke the cycle, you know? She could have like done a lot of different things in life. She chose to, as a single mom, raise my brother and I and work every single day and teach us what it was really like to create success in life, you know? That survival instinct that's strong and showing up. So now as I show up, any day that I have a hard day, anytime in life, I would channel my mom. I was like, if my mom could work 2 jobs and go to school at night to put food on the table just for the sole purpose of raising my brother and I, we could show off and like do a lot of different things, right? By like just putting the work in, like really, really putting the work in.
100%. Mike, when you look at the stats of Manitoba Harvest, I was looking at, I think in 1998, you were at $10,000, and then 10 years later, you were like $10 million, and then you're at $70 million. Why is that so important for business owners to stay the long course?
And nothing good happens quickly, you know, it just takes time. And so if you look at 90% of businesses won't make the first 5 years. It's actually about 98% of businesses won't make it past 10 years. So a big part of it is just staying in the game, you know? If you don't stay in the game, you can't win. And so business, it's about, you don't have to get there as quick as possible. You have to build a good business, and that can take a long time. A strong foundation in business is actually gonna serve you well. So take the days or the months or the years out of it, start thinking in decades, and you're golden.
100%. How old are you now, Mike?
I turned 50 in 90 days from now.
Wow. And if you had to go back, what would you tell your younger self, your 20-year-old self?
Just be consistent every day with health routines, sleep good, drink lots of water, eat good, work out, spend loving time with friends and family, like really be your best self personally. And then your work that you do in the community you build becomes so much easier, and it becomes sustainable for life.
100%, man. It's a pleasure. You're going to be one of our speakers. What are you looking forward to today's event? You're out here in the community, the Hanny Lounge.
Yeah. Well, my first time in the Hanny Lounge, I like it. Look at the energy in here, you know? I'm a community-based person. Just because you're successful, you know, help other people, right? I've been helping people my whole life, and like now it doesn't stop because I've already achieved success or something. I want to help everyone else. That makes me feel good, you know? So putting on good communities like this, so you get people together that can be inspired and learn a little bit and go home and try something different tomorrow, fires me right up.
That's what it's all about, Mike. I appreciate it. We're gonna get started right away. So, folks, I appreciate it, Mike. It's a big town. This is just the preview before the preview. Let's get to it, man. Plug them up. Yeah. You're gonna plug them. The microphone. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. 72. Yeah, it's perfect time to start now. Yeah. So I'll start. Yeah, we're gonna start. I might have to take my key, bro, and get some back on the phone. Let me give you my key right now, bro. Mike, you ready? Nice, thanks, man. There you go, Mike. Yeah. Just attach this here. What about the other mic? The other mic. There's 2 people. One more person. One more person, the speaker. Just only the speaker, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, you good? You're gonna plug them up? Did you plug them up already? The speaker, did you plug the speaker up? Yeah, he's gonna come, he's coming. Only one more person. One more person only. Yeah. So they can hear right now in there? They can hear right? Okay. I get some thank yous. Just when he comes back, just plug him up and then we should be good to go. How is everybody feeling? Are we full yet? Are we full? It looks like everybody ate. Looks like everybody ate. We full? Yeah? Okay, great. So how you know? Nice. Nice. You get your mic, yeah, plug them up. Okay, we're gonna get started here. It looks like everybody has ate. They got something to eat. It's a beautiful day here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I remember a couple months back ago, we had to go through the storm. People couldn't make the events. We had to cancel, and there's been a lot of different shifts. But when the weather is nice like this, it's like, okay, I actually want to come outside today. So if anybody here, if it's your first time, my name is Hanny Mehari. I started this, I think 2 years ago now. Just really passionate about building communities, giving back to people. I'm the founder of Hanny Mobile, which is a cell phone business. And I'm also into real estate, primarily focusing on wholesaling real estate here in Winnipeg. But my mission is, I love giving back. And that's why I'm doing this. I know, Mike, that's one of your chapters about, you talk a lot about giving back before you're successful. I think a lot of people think you need to have success before you give back, but I think we all have life experiences, we all go through things, and for me, I've been through a lot over the last so many years now, growing up in the inner city, right here, actually 95 Ella Street, Aircom. We've seen a lot, you know what I mean, as far as people getting into gangs, violence, drugs. So when I see these things growing up, I'm like, if I become an entrepreneur, if I have a business and I get a little bit of success, I'm gonna give that back because I know what it's like, you know what I mean, to lose friends, to drugs, to gangs, right? And I had to actually go through that in 2018 when I started, you know what I mean, smoking and drinking, hanging out with people that weren't making the right decisions. And when I decided to get into business, I think the first book that I read was Rich Dad Poor Dad. And that would really just install the mindset and the belief system in me. And then I just changed completely. And I think it starts with just having that mindset shift that you can actually do this. And I think a lot of times you have to look within though. If you don't look within, nothing changes. So for me, I had to look within. I knew that I had so many limiting beliefs. Growing up as an introvert, not having no friends, also growing up with a single parent mom, there's so many belief systems, right? Like nobody believes in you, like you don't have as much. So when you have a little bit of success, it's your duty, it's your obligation to give that back to people because at the end of the day, if you're successful and nobody comes with you, you know what I mean? You sense you don't have that purpose, right? And I think purpose really comes in when you teach. You know, Russell Brunson talks about this idea, if you want to master something, teach, right? Because when you teach something, depending on what line of business you in, it gives you fulfillment, it gives you joy to wake up every single day. And so that's my whole thing. It's like, how do I give back? And I don't feel like you have to have a lot. You can literally just start off with 5 people, and that's how we started the events literally 2 years ago, and then it's just kind of been growing. I remember, I think Maddie was our 3rd event, so I appreciate you, Maddie. Thanks for coming out. But first of all, I want to thank our sponsors for helping us and being part of this. Right now, we got table space. As you guys can see, this is a co-working center / community / office spaces. So maybe you got a business and maybe you're working out of your house and you feel like, oh, I want to get something, I want to come out and I want to meet some people, I want to connect with them and I want to get a space. So table space is a co-working center. You can meet so many like-minded people. I've met so many people in the community over the last couple of years now. Like, I don't even go check resumes. I literally just go out there and network. I find people in my community because I don't do social media. I don't reach out to people saying, hey. I literally just go out there and I find people who are passionate, who have determination, and I hire them. Because what's the point of trying to go out there prospect 50 people when you can literally just go in your community and find someone who's hungry? I think we got Bassam in here who helps me out with the events. We got Sammy, we got Nahom who's part of the team. We got Hope who does our social media marketing. You know what I mean? All these people, Pajak, our photographer, I just found them in the community. I didn't do one outreach. I literally met these people out here and I said, hey, you want to come be a part of this? They said, let's do it. And some of them literally were just starting their business. That's the craziest part too. You don't even have to have like a business. You could just literally follow someone who has the blueprint, ask for questions, and then just, go off the bat just like that. So we want to thank Table Space for being a sponsor. We really appreciate it. Second up, we got Sandy. Esther, she's the founder of Horizon Growth. She's a financial advisor. And Esther, she's been part of just giving back. She really believes in entrepreneurs. Help with your finances. You want to protect your money. You want to grow it. So we appreciate it. Yeah. Lastly, we got Coach Mike. I don't know if Coach Mike is here yet, but usually if he comes in, you'll probably hear Coach Mike. The guy, you know what I mean? But he's not here right now. So Coach Mike, founder of F&I Masters. I think he quit his job, automotive business. I think now he's training people as an automotive. Another guy into mindset. He helps people just change their belief system. And whenever he walks in, you'll probably see Coach Mike. So other than that, we're gonna get started right away. Let's do it. So we got none other than Mike Fata. Mike is the founder of the business in 1998. So it's a pleasure, Mike, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You guys got that part about Hanny being an introvert, right? Like somewhere in that monologue, it was like, I'm an introvert. It's good to be here.
No, for sure, man. Crazy enough, I grew up 95 Ellis Street, like I was telling everybody. This is actually a full circle moment. And I remember when Manitoba Harvest, at the time my mom was a single parent mom, we didn't really have as much, and they used to come a lot and used to help with the food banks. They used to give us food, and so it's pretty crazy that I think at one point we were like, we didn't really have much in the community, right? And so we had Nigerians, Ethiopians, Eritreans, and that Manitoba Harvest was doing a lot of work in the community. So I commend you for that, man. It's salute, it's big time, especially for a young guy like myself who came to Canada in 2009, and so much was happening during those years, and to be able to get support from a company like yourself is pretty remarkable. I don't even know if you probably know about that.
I knew we had an impact in the community, but it was one of our initiatives that we had that was 2020, so we gave back one full year of team members' time, the amount of hours, 2,020 hours in a year, and there's a bunch of people involved. That's the really cool part about it.
100%, man. So I want to get started right away here. Mike, you guys probably see Mike right now, successful business. I think people know it. Well, Mike, take me back to a time when you were 300 pounds at one point. What was the mindset shift to go from that to scaling a business and starting it?
I grew up in, I was born in Thunder Bay, but I grew up in North Kildonan, just on Henderson Highway, and to a single mom. We weren't educated about health, and so just quite simply then, eating ultra-processed foods, cheap foods, not knowing about it. And that led me to, all of a sudden, went from 13 to 18. At 18, I was 300, maybe 320 pounds, over 300 pounds. Sick and tired all the time, smoking cigarettes at that time, not making the healthiest lifestyle choices, and then literally one day I became sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was like, I can't do it anymore. I guess that's the rock bottom. People talk about their rock bottom moment. That was my rock bottom moment. And then thankfully I had a good mentor in my life, my brother, who was already working out and said, like, I'll come and take you to the gym and let's start working out. And one day I was like, hey, take me to the gym. And if you guys have seen the show The Biggest Loser, that was me in the gym the first day, like the bar, no weight, crying. I can't do this. And my brother, you can do it, And that was the start, It was like one day at a time. Healthy lifestyle, food choices, working out every day, learning about health, all led me to think that I could, be my best self, which I did over like 2 or 3 years. I laid the foundation to that. But that got me really interested in health and got me interested in hemp seed, which got me into the business.
Yeah, and explain to people who are like just brand new to, I know Boris earlier was talking about he was in the cannabis and people don't really know about hemp. Just explain to them the idea of how did that come about and why that's revolutionized Winnipeg in a sense.
Yeah, like hemp is one of the most ancient agriculture crops on the planet. So there's more than like 5,000 years of history to really back to like ancient China. People were making, they found like hemp mats for house and some clothing material. So it's a rich history. All the continents you could grow hemp, except for the Arctic and Antarctic. And when people came to North America, hemp was a super valuable commodity because back in the day, hemp is the canvas, the ropes of the ships and the sails of the ships, And so to get across the ocean, you needed ships. To get across the ocean with the ships, you needed hemp because it's the strongest natural fiber on the planet. And so back in the day, like when people came to Canada and to the US, you could pay your taxes in hemp. You got free land from the King of England and the government if you planted 10% of your acreage to hemp. Like the history is wild. No one knows this stuff, right? The Declaration of Independence in the U.S. written on hemp paper. The first Canadian flag made out of hemp. Like that. And all was good up until the 1930s. And in the 1930s, marijuana came more into the picture, which it was always there, but it came more into the where there was. There's some conspiracy theory around this, but basically the DuPont family in the 1930s invented nylon rope. So they started making rope out of oil, out of petrochemical instead of a natural fiber. And the Hearst family in the US that owned media and they owned manufacturing, started pulping trees for paper instead of that time hemp was a large part of the paper source. And so the conspiracy is that the two big families, which were super powerful, they are still super powerful, but even at that time, that if they got rid of hemp, that they would, it'd be better for both their businesses. And there was a huge lobby campaign. You can look back at that kind of stuff led into the reefer madness kind of propaganda, which you can still search on YouTube, which was like hemp will get your children high. They basically mixed hemp and marijuana, where hemp by definition doesn't have any drug. And if you want the good stuff, go down the street here in Winnipeg, as you get it everywhere nowadays. So.
No, that's a pretty crazy story, man. Mike, tell me the starting point, because 1998, you were overweight at one point, you were gaining so much weight and then decided to get into this business to make a difference. But tell me that starting point, because you had $10,000 when you were first starting Manitoba Harvest, and then...
Yeah. So I dropped out of high school because I was the overweight, nerdy kid that knew that high school wasn't for me for sure, which led me to, which my mom was very supportive of and said, if you're not going to go to school, you're going to get a job. And I was like, okay, I'll get a job. And I started working construction, shoveling asphalt and concrete and just hard jobs with a shovel and a pickaxe. And I did that for 5 years. More on and off, and had saved up some money, and started the business with $10,000, and then there was two other co-founders of Manitoba Harvest that each put in $10,000, so we had $30,000 to start the business. We bought an oil press from Europe, which cost us like $28,000, and then we realized, we need more money than that, but they got us in the business of making our first product, which was hemp seed oil.
Yeah. And how did you go from just starting that business, just seeing the vision? What did the vision come from? Like, what was the idea behind starting that business? Like, what kind of gave you that fire?
Yeah, I read a book, Dr. Udo Rasmus's book, Fats That Heal, Fats That Kill, which is basically the Bible on fat. And back in the in the late 1990s, mid 1990s for sure. Dr. Nathan Pritikin, the whole no fat doctor guy, wrote a book and it got really popular. Janet Aniston said like no fat. And so I went on a no fat diet when I was losing the weight. But no fat is really, really bad for you. You know, your body needs fat. We've learned that now. 30 years later, we've learned there's things called essential fatty acids, but all the fats are really good. You know, you need them probably 30% of your diet. So I cut them down to basically out of my diet and started suffering from ill health, even though I was skinny. You know, I got pretty skinny, maybe a little bit too skinny. And then I got turned on to this book, Fats That Heal, Fats That Kill, and Udo just really broke down why you need fat, what essential fatty acids are, what happens if you don't eat them in your diet. And I was going down the list going, oh yeah, my skin's horrible, my hair was falling out, I had no energy, all these things, and that got me interested in hemp, or that got me interested in essential fatty acids. And in his book, Udo was like, the best source of hemp, the best source of essential fats is hemp seed oil, but you can't get it in Canada. And that's when I met the other two co-founders, and they were just lobbying the government to legalize hemp. They're really hemp activists, and I saw things changing from the no-fat diet phase to its craze to the right fat diet craze. And I think 30 years later, we're back to full bore. You know, even it happened like 15 years ago that the world woke up and be like, hey, you need fat, you need whole foods, real foods, you need carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Fat's not bad. You know?
Yeah, 100%. I think your story though of like, in your book you talk a lot about your mother. I think in the first chapter, like right away when the book, couple first chapters, how she made a big impact, especially when you're first starting your business. Like you don't come from like a successful, you know, father. You didn't have that in your life. You grew up with a single parent mom. So your drive is a little bit more different than most people. What was those first instances when you're first growing Manitoba Harvest? Because you had no guidance really, nobody really telling you how to do things. Essentially you're breaking, you're breaking the system because nobody had success in your family. So what was that like to be able to like say, okay, I'm gonna do this business and you know, no one is gonna see what we're gonna build, but we're gonna go after it anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were talking about it earlier. I think when you grow up with in a poor setting, single parent setting, not a lot of resources, especially that time, like, you know, in the 1980s and 90s, it was a different time. It's a survival instinct, you know. You want to eat some food, you want to buy a new T-shirt or something, and so I had that in me. But I wouldn't say that I didn't have any success. The best thing that I had was my mom. She worked for Shoppers Drug Mart. So, you know, she started before it was Shoppers Drug Mart and got acquired one of the drugstores by Shoppers Drug Mart. So she was in the retail trade on the buying side. She was an accountant for her whole life. So every time, from as far as I remember growing up, and you know, and so when I went to start the business, I had the best mentor in me, a little out of school. She said, okay, I'll support you in that, but here's how you register the company. Here's how, you know, like she was an accountant, she was finance admin. That was her whole experience. So yeah, that was the biggest gift for me, looking back, getting into the CPG, food and beverage industry, right? Like I always had the other side, the customer kind of based side, understanding of it, but more so than anything, and I hope this for everybody, all the parents that are here, and if you support someone else, like just support them, you know. That's the best thing I ever got, was someone saying, oh, you're gonna do that? Okay, I'm gonna support you. My mom invested, was our first shareholder, $5,000 is all she had. She's already created a little bit of success in life, but not a lot of success. I'm like, I'm gonna start the business. She goes, well, I can invest $5,000. Okay, it's great, you know.
Wow. Talk about that power of persistence when you're growing up with a single parent mom. Mike, I've heard that you almost quit 6 times when you first started your business. Tell me those days, man, going from $10,000 to, you know, $10 million. What was those days like? Because I can imagine there was a lot of challenges that you had to go through those early phases.
Yeah, I only say 6 times in the book because that's theatric, and if I told people like 3,000 times, they'd be like, "Whoa, shit! I don't want to read this book. I don't want to get in business." You know, I think, you know, and someone asked me earlier. A couple people asked me earlier when we were just connecting over the book signing there. like, what do you do? How do you know? How do you stay in the game? Like, we're never gonna have an answer as an entrepreneur. The best thing to do is be your best self today. You know, like, do the best work you can today. And when you want to quit, the best thing you could do is just say one more day. Okay? And the best way to have that one more day is go to sleep and get up in the morning, and hopefully you have a little workout, you eat some good food, and you hydrate yourself, then step back into the work. And like, there's so many times that I can look back at that. It was literally every day or every other day. It felt like that for almost the first 5 years or 7 years. But here's the thing, you know, when you're working out in the gym and you can only lift the bar and you can't even lift any weight and you're crying and you're like, I can't do it anymore, you say the same thing, one more day. Go up there, and what happens, you start doing reps like that, whether you're repping your muscle or you're doing repetitions in business and learning how to be an expert at something, it's the same thing, you know? So don't worry about motivation. None of us can hold motivation forever. It just doesn't work. Worry about discipline. Have a plan, like, tomorrow, it doesn't matter what's gonna happen, I'm gonna show up. That sucked, okay, great. Tomorrow I'm gonna show up again, you know, and here's my plan and detail my plan.
What's your thoughts on Malcolm Gladwell? He talks about 10,000 hours. What's your thoughts on that?
I've written a couple of LinkedIn posts about that because I just think that it lined up pretty good, that like 10,000 hours in business, it was our first 5 years. If you count 2,000 hours a year, which I was doing like 5,000 hours a year, but if you count the 2,000 hours a year, I was like, oh, the first 5 years, it took us 5 years to get to $1 million in sales. I had no clue what I was doing before we were doing $1 million in sales. By the time we were doing $1 million in annual revenue, my family thought that I was the most successful thing ever. And I'm like, we're losing $100,000 a year. I'm getting paid, I think, $30,000 as a salary. I'm stressed out every day, but everyone thinks I'm successful. You know what I mean? Like, but that was the first 10,000 hours. You know, the second 10,000 hours, I think, it got better. You know, but it wasn't until I was 10 years into the business that I could say I was a business person that knew what I was doing and growing a team. And that's when we got our shit together, and we grew 10 million to 100 million over 10 years, basically $10 million a year.
Yeah, and what was that thing you saw in the marketplace? Like, what shifted for you, like, that you saw nobody else was doing in the marketplace?
Well, that's a good question. You know, I usually get asked the other way because people think you're such a pioneer. I was like, oh, we had like dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of competitors that were also trying to get into the hemp gold rush back in the day, right? And so, what did we do different? Like, ultimately, we built a vertically integrated company, meaning that we controlled all aspects of the supply chain. And I got super fanatical about learning as much as I could about the whole supply chain, right? From genetics at the farm level to farming and how you make a hemp seed to freight transfer of hemp seed to how it goes into a facility and how you extract hemp parts, most yield, highest quality, putting it into a package, how that package gets out to a retail store, how you convince a consumer to buy it, like the whole supply chain. And so I think if I look back, there was 3 co-founders, and that made a difference because some of our competitors that had one person or whatever, we just put in more hours, I think. That was, you know, especially in the early days. But I think my obsession to try to figure out how everything worked, and because I was super into it, I just got healthy. And I started eating hemp seed. It made me feel better. I'm all about health. I used to think hemp was cool when I was young. Like, I had a hemp bracelet and stuff. I've smoked cannabis. I've been a medicinal and recreational cannabis consumer since I've been like 15, 16, you know? It's always been a part of my life. I was thinking, this sounds cool. I can after becoming my best self, losing 100 pounds and like getting my health in order, I turned this fascination as a poor kid into like, I'm gonna become an entrepreneur, and I'm an expert in hemp. So that's why, like, people, it's going away now, but for people used to call me the hemp guy, you know, for like 20 years, either Manitoba Mike or the hemp guy. And thankfully now, it's been 7 years since we sold the business, and all my work and what I'm doing nowadays, now people call me the growth guy. And I'm like, okay, you know, because hemp guy, like, the only thing harder than starting a hemp food business in 1998 was doing it as a guy with a ponytail. You know, there's a little stigma back then. It's getting better now, but anyway, okay, I'll stop. I'll stop now. So
that's a great point. I think vertically integrated. If you look at Apple vertically integrated, right? It's a company that's been able to distribute so many faces. But for you, when we talk about distribution, like 20 years ago, when there's no social media, there was no nothing. How did you find those customers? Because nowadays, a lot of business owners, their biggest struggle is like, I want customers, I need to find people. How did you find them in those days?
Yeah, well, I'm not a dinosaur, okay? So I could talk about what I did in those days, but I'm still doing it now. So how about like, what are the techniques in 2026 that we can use, right? If you have a product and you're in the product business, I call it the 10-10-100 strategy, okay? Go within 10 kilometers of your house or your office or whatever, and go to get your first 10 stores that you could sell to, and get your first 100 customers in each one of those stores. Why does that work? Because you can drive 10 kilometers around into those 10 stores. You can deliver your product. You can meet the store manager, the owner, the buyer. You can make friends with them. You could tell them, hey, I'll see you in here like next week and the week after. I'll come support you. I'll do a product demo. I'll train your staff. I'll deliver it myself. You could do that within and take time to build the first 100 customers in each one of those stores. Now you got your first 1,000 customers. As a product business, the first 1,000 customers is really the hardest. But nowadays, that's the way to launch. Other people would call it, and I used to call it the farmer's market approach, right? In Winnipeg here, you could make a great product, and now I know there's a number of markets, but I'll talk to St. Norbert because it's the biggest farmer's market. You can go to St. Norbert and go there on a one day, on a Saturday, and for 8 hours plus the prep, and sell out a whole lot, Like you can make 200 or something, go there, sell it all. Next week you come back, you make 250 something, you sell them all. Next week after that, you're gonna make 400 and you sell it all, right? It's the same concept, but just going around your local area of your house close to home and building community with those retailers that you're selling the product to.
Yeah, 100%. I think also too, being a founder that early, that young, 21, 22, 23, like what's the mindset there to be like, I'm doing this and I'm gonna go for it? Like,
yeah.
Because it's to go. I know you're probably doing trade shows. You're meeting people.
Yeah. Oh, I was obsessed. Yeah, yeah, obsessed. Yeah, I mean, I tell the story of the first store that I sold was the health food store across the street from my mom's place. I was still living with my mom. We did our first batch of hemp oil, and I'm so excited because I know the manager of the store because my 100-pound weight loss journey the 3 years before that, I was in that store at least once a week buying protein powder, buying flax oil, whatever, all the things that I learned, right? Bought my copy of Udo's book there. And so when we had the first, I went in there, I was like, hey, I got a new product, hemp oil, I want to sell you. And he's like, no one's asking for hemp oil, Mike. And I'm like, oh, okay. And a tail between my legs walked out, but I know I'm going to be there 3 days later. I go in there and I'm like, Marvin, try some hemp oil. We put it right on the shelf in the fridge beside the flax oil, and it tastes better and it's good. He's like, no one's asking for it though. I don't need it. Okay. The third time we go in there and he's like, because I'm a customer of his. We're in the community together. You know what I mean? I'm supporting him. I'm like, buy the bottles. And he go, okay, fine, give me 3 bottles. And that was my first sale. And I ran back home to my mom's place, got a little invoice book that I had, wrote 3 bottles, $7.50, $22.50, ran back across the street, gave him the 3 bottles. We put it in the fridge right beside the flax oil, gave him the ticket. He said he would pay me after they sold, consignment even. And I walked out of there and I got on the phone to my buddies at the gym and I was like, go to the Canadian Nutrition Center and buy those 3 bottles of hemp oil. And I'm telling you, 2 days later, I went back in there. He's like, "Oh, 3 of the bottles sold," And it's funny when I talk about that as like making a market. If we're young and dynamic, doesn't matter. You're like older entrepreneurs, like if you're super passionate about something, people are going to feel it and they're going to buy in. It may not take just one attempt at it. It may take you might need the typical 9 no's before you get the 1 yes, but if you're super interested, it doesn't really matter, right? And so after that 10-10-100, after I exhausted basically in Winnipeg, downtown Winnipeg in North Kildonan, I got the phone book, which back in the day, there was a phone book, No, but even it was just started 1998, 1999, the internet was just starting to go, and so they had the yellow pages for every city was online. It was like a big radical thing, and so I went and searched the health food stores in Saskatoon and in Regina and in Calgary and in Edmonton, and I call it and I tell this is also a great strategy for any entrepreneur out there. It's called dialing for dollars. You put a goal for yourself. You know what you're selling. I had a couple products to sell. I knew what the price was. I knew what I was trying to sell them. I practiced my line of hey, I'm Mike. Here's my story. Here's what we're doing. We have this great product. I can send it to you. Here's the total. Give me your credit card, and we can work that through right now. And I went up to having a target of $1,500 a day when I peaked out on that the first bit. And that's the way that it started. I knew if I sold that much, that I could do the next thing, whether that was go to the next trade show, fire myself up for whatever that next growth thing was. But it's that simple, and it still works today. Dialing for dollars. We have inside sales in multiple of our business that their whole job is just to, no one will go visit that store, but you could just phone them and say like, hey, how you doing? I want to make friends with you and I want to sell you this and let me know I could be helpful and we can send you some samples and all that kind of stuff. Like it works, you know.
I think nowadays people do scrapping. They'll go on in the internet and they'll find a bunch of businesses. That's how you know things have changed.
Yeah, no, and I'm again, like I'd say the current technique is if you're in business is get on LinkedIn, make some content on LinkedIn, but build community on LinkedIn like you would if you're at this event center, and then DM people on LinkedIn after you've commented, engaged with them publicly on their posts, so they know who you are. Then it's a warm lead. You're just walking in their front door. It's no different than me supporting Marvin buying at his store before I went and asked him, right?
Yeah, 100%. Now tell me, to go from 10 million to that 50 or 20, how did you get people to come back again and again and again? Because that's like, you know, you've just essentially tapped into something that many people wanted, right? It's like,
yeah, there's a tipping point, you know, right? The book, The Tipping Point, is kind of true. Like what I found, it took us 10 years to get to $10 million in sales, but that year, and there was a major change. We did a full consumer research and marketing rebranding project, and we fully refaced Manitoba Harvest as a brand and logo that you'd still see today. Before that, if you look in the archives, it looks different than that. You know, different logo, different brand treatment, and that brand refresh coincided with us creating the sub-brand of Hemp Hearts, because we used to call it shelled hemp seeds, but we created the Hemp Hearts brand, and both of those things lined up with getting a yes from Costco, and so it felt like the 10 years before that, all the work that we had done, which was hundreds and hundreds of trade shows and consumer shows and flyers and advertising and all the things that we were doing to lead up to it, that was the tipping point. And so we went, you know, 10 to 20 million that year, and then we were on a totally, like the vertical part of the J curve. But it's that snowball effect. Like it caught up because all these things happened and timed at the right time.
Yeah, so as a founder, when you have that tipping point, because you were bootstrapping the business for...
No, we never bootstrapped the business. I mean, we, the three founders, invested our money that we had, but we raised capital. We were very efficient with capital. We only raised $6.5 million total to get to $50 million in revenue and $10 million of profit. We did that because we got like $12 million of loans from the government, right, loans to build our manufacturing, and a couple $1 million of grants. But like we never, I would say bootstrappy, but it was friends and family that, I never had any money to start the business, right? So there wasn't we were in a capital intensive business because we own manufacturing, we have to put money down. We don't own the farms, but we have to buy right from farmers. So there's the farm operations. We had to build our facility. Like I told you, the three founders with $30,000. Hey, what's a good thing to do? Let's buy an oil press from Europe for $25,000, and then have no money left, but you need to buy everything else. So.
Yeah, because earlier you talked about vertically integrated. I think one of the biggest challenges entrepreneurs face is raising capital. Like they want to scale their business.
Yeah.
But for you, how did you convince people to buy in? Of course, you had three founders, but those early days were you like cold calling, where you're just going to people and just giving them the vision? What was those days like?
Yeah, I got good at writing our business plan, which started at nothing because I had no, never mind business school, and had no high school education, so I didn't really know what a business plan looked like then, and there was no AI to ask and write for you in like 3 minutes like you could do nowadays. But so I had to learn what the business planning process looked like, and then I started writing our plan and writing it over and over again. I say nowadays to people, like, what I see too often is people want you to fund their dream instead of fuel their success, okay? And the difference is, like, prove something. Go out there and prove it, and we did that by doing the first batch of 250 bottles and then 1,000 bottles and selling it all. And so we went to investors, we were like, look, more money is going to fuel this, right? Not like I have this idea, but I can't do it, because in entrepreneurship, make it happen. We're like magicians, make something out of nothing. Like go and make the first, prove it, and then it's a lot easier with investors. And there's lots of different ways to think about financing a business nowadays, with pre-sales, with social financing, grants. A lot. One of the easiest places to start a business in Canada is definitely in Manitoba and Winnipeg, because there's so much programming here compared to if you're in Toronto or Montreal or Vancouver. And you got to use it all. You got to use it all.
So you took that money and just kept reinvesting it back, and
Yeah. The salaries are really minimal for. I didn't get paid for the first 2 years. For a year and almost a year and a half of it, I worked overnight at the Winnipeg Free Press. After they print the papers, then there's got to be someone that loads them into the trucks and drives the truck out to meet the paper boy or girl that start at 5 a.m. Well, that shift goes from 10 p.m. to 3 or 4 a.m. And so I did that and then went home and took a nap and then went to the office from 9 to 5 and then had some dinner, worked out, and then worked the evening and then tried to take a couple hours of nap and then went back to the Free Press for like a year and a bit.
But you ain't getting no sleep. Those early days.
Yeah.
Mike, tell me this idea of building a culture in business. A lot of people want to start a business, but they realize, okay, I have this idea, it's growing, it's going. But then you got people that you're also investing into, people who are going to believe into that vision. For you, how did you build that culture with Manitoba Harvest to be able to scale? Because you need a team. You can't really do it on your own.
Yeah. That's the difference between, I say I'm a born entrepreneur because I was scrappy and because we were, didn't have enough growing up and I wanted to prove that. But I'm a made CEO. I'm a made CEO not from going to business school and learning it that way. I'm a made CEO from growing in business and learning what you really need to do to be successful as soon as you have, I believe, more than one person, more than yourself, It's why I'm a solopreneur nowadays, because no one reporting to me. But as soon as you have one person, it's about sharing the vision with them of where you're going as a business and what the steps are to get there and what their part is, whether it's one person. We had at $100 million, we had a team of like 230 team members. You have to be really, as a leader, you have to be really clear of sales, marketing, ops, and finance. Where's the business going? How are we growing to the next stage? How are we going to get new customers in the door? What does operations build out look like? And that starts. What's really hard is it starts right at the startup phase, but people don't have a lot of experience. Again, nowadays, like the AI tools, from a business planning and development, and to be your coach and mentor is so strong. But that's the iterations that really matter.
But I think nowadays there's so much information. People are like overblown about what business idea, what you should do. At that time, though, you probably just, like you said,
I followed my passion, yeah. And people could see the passion, right? Like I remember when I went to my first consumer show, so it was a couple weeks after, or maybe a month and a half after the first sale to the Canadian Nutrition Center, they had the Winnipeg Wellness Expo. It used to be out in St. Norbert. I think the show is still going. It's like 28 years. I think now they have it at the convention center. Anyway, St. Norbert. Well, it's just so happened that the food development center that we worked out of Importers of Prairie to bottle the first bottles of hemp oil said, "Hey, we have this little table. Do you want to come to the table and sell your product?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds great." It was the first time we were. Listen, I learned after reading Udo's book, I was like, people are confused about fat. We got to educate people about fat. That could be our whole thing. It's my thing, right? I went on a no-fat diet, almost killed me. I learned about fat. Let's educate. And we printed out. We made these brochures that we printed out on a black and white printer. I showed up at that show. We had 100 bottles of hemp oil. Sorry, we had 300 bottles left on the run of hemp oil, which was $3,000 in sales. We were selling them at $10 a bottle, and I sold them out that weekend by telling people, I used to weigh 300 pounds, I lost 100 pounds, I went on a no-fat diet, I learned the hard way that you need essential fatty acids. I'm so passionate about it, you should read that book, but we made a little excerpt of that book. We can give that to you, and then we're selling it here today for $10, and like sold out. And I was hooked. I was like, oh my God. Now, me being a good version of myself, like talking about health. Carrie's here with me. She I got a little obsessed with talking about health. It started then, and it gave me the passion where I was stoked about the business side. But wow, was I stoked when I got to talk to our customers, the people that were, because we started to hear it not too long, like senior citizens that said, hey, we started eating hemp oil or hemp hearts, and my arthritis is better, or my digestion is better, I'm pooping better, all these things, and like that gave me like so much fire.
Yeah, and I think nowadays food has changed, but like during those times, there is so much like junk food, and there's so many things that people are trying to get you to buy. But for you, you've seen a transformation on yourself and seen what it did for you, and then you're able to like, hey, I want to. So what's that like for people to like, okay, I want to buy this vision because I know this is actually good for me. People try to sell you a product nowadays. It's like, I don't really want to buy this, but they're like forcing you to buy it. You know what I'm saying? Like you see that a lot nowadays, but it's like, for you, how did people already kind of loving the product? It's sort of like Apple, like everybody's wants to buy a phone because
it doesn't add that, that happened that started happening when about 10 years into the business, when we became a $10 million business. It just, for perspective, at $10 million of revenue, and about half of that was in Canada, half in the US, at $5 million of revenue in Canada, we were in about 1% of the homes in Canada. By the time we were a $100 million business and 45 million of that was in Canada, we were in 12% of the homes. So at 1% of the homes, no one knows you, and I'm doing $5 million of business in Canada, and people were still not laughing then, but they didn't know. The first 2, 3, 4 years, the far majority, more than 51% of people that would walk by us in a booth, a trade show, a consumer show, would be like snickering, like, I don't do that, that's not my thing. They were so thinking, guys with ponytails selling hemp, I've seen this before, you know, like, and all the propaganda that was like, you know, the lack of education and information that was going on. And so that was really hard. But for me, I would already been like, listen, when I was 300 pounds and overweight, and even growing up before that on my way there being a nerdy kid, like, I got teased a whole bunch, you know what I mean? So I had a little bit of a shell that was like, okay, you know, like, and I'm a sensitive person. I did take some of those things too personally, but when we got in the business, it flipped that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna really stand up for this. And that, I think, people feel that, right? People feel, and talk about it all the time. Simon Sinek obviously says it in The Power of Why, but like, people buy why you're doing what you're doing more than what you're doing. That's our opportunity to tell them a story. I probably told a couple of you that when we were signing books earlier, because you're asking me things that were like, just tell people why you're doing what you're doing, not what you're doing. Like, hey, I'm in financial services because when I grew up, we didn't have enough. My mom was working her butt off, single mom. We all have a story. We just, the way that we live life, when you tell people that and it connects truly to, authentically to the thing that you're doing, the thing you're working on, the problem you're trying to solve, people feel that. And then they want to line up and they can't help themselves. You know, they want to buy the product, they want to buy the service, they want to be in the community, they want to be in support. And
yeah, 100%. I think it goes back to relationship as well too. I think a lot of small businesses, probably when you first start them, because you want to make that first sale. Even for me, when I first started my business, I tell people all the time I started with $365, and like oftentimes people don't really know who can buy it, who doesn't want to buy it. But when you go out there in the community and you build a genuine relationship and your product is good and you can offer that service to them, they will want to come back to you. And so I've realized that the biggest shift in my mindset has been like, how can you build a relationship with people, right? Because social media is there, distribution is free, but it's like, if you can go out there, connect with them and get to know who they are and tell them your story, I think that's ultimately why they really buy. The product is just the product. We can sell an iPhone, we can sell a MacBook, but they're not really buying, because I'm in the phone business, they don't really buy phones, they buy you. You are
you're buying your trust. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's why, like, community is important, right? And pick your community and go up there and show up. And we know we can do that nowadays here in events like this. Is super powerful. If you haven't already, I would always just say something at events like this. Meet 5 people here that you haven't met tonight. You want to take it a step further, take 1 or 2 of those people, tell them you're going to follow up with a coffee later on, just to get to know each other and see if there's any collab opportunities.
Yeah, 100%.
And just you do that over and over again, and I'm telling you, do reps of that, and you will have, you know, I just hit 60,000 people on my LinkedIn community, and it's just from the last 5 years being helpful to people, having conversations, meeting people at live events, then they connect, and we follow up after. Like, it's just, if you start that when you're young, you're in school, you're starting your business, you're learning, like, you just show up there online and at events like this and use the combination of the 2 of them together just to shake hands with people, high five them, congratulate them on their business, or ask them questions, support them. Like, that's it. You know, that's community building 101. And if you're there, people are just going to want to naturally help you out. I say, when your community wants you to win, you're unstoppable. It's true. We all feel it. We probably just feel it in moments, but you could feel it in like a lifetime.
Yeah, 100%. Building world-class companies. Mike, tell me the start, like the tipping point, like you talked about earlier. Now you build distribution. People know who you are. How many employees did you have at the peak when you're like?
Over 200, yeah.
Over 200. So now you're growing this business. You go from 10 to 40 to now hundreds of millions. Like, what did you have to like discover? What mindset shift did you have to, like, you know what I mean, come to a realization like, this thing is growing. We're gonna keep. You know what I mean? You had a team as well too. Like, how do you encourage those people to be like, we're gonna go for it? Like, you know, we're gonna do something. We're gonna change the world, right? I think that's probably the mindset you probably had at that time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, like becoming a good CEO. We can all think about this. Like, what does it become to be a good leader, right? It's all based on governance. And if you break governance, and people have a misunderstanding of governance. Some places governance is a bad word, and I think that's red tape, that makes it harder, whatever. But governance is the structure system that allows you to have a plan, execute the plan, measure how you did, check and readjust, repeat, over and over again. And so the best thing that we can all learn is the governance system, first for our own life, how we become our best self. But then when you take it to business and you have a team, you need to tell people like where you're going, what their part in it is, like all the different action steps of the business. And the best way to do that is thinking about it from an annual plan. I'll start there. Having a strong annual plan for the business of how you're going to grow sales, marketing, operations, and finance with a budget. Taking that down to a quarterly review of that plan so did we accomplish what we tried to accomplish and the things that we were testing, or do we have to change our strategy? Taking that down to a monthly review of your financial statements. If you're in business or even if you work for someone else, know your financials on a monthly basis. You just become a stronger individual. And then in business, you take that down to a weekly basis to spoon feed to your team, whether you have 2 people or you have 2,000 people, what's happening this next week, what's happening that you want the whole organization to focus on, new customer, new product launch, challenges you're having, whatever it is. That governance system is, whether your business, if you don't have that in place by the time if you accomplish being a $5 million company or a $10 million company, you're going to notice it because there's going to be like a lot of mistakes that happen that are costly in the business. But I haven't seen too many businesses that get past 10 million without a strong governance system. And to build a business to 100 million or hundreds of millions, you need it. That's why there's classically trained CEOs that go to school just to learn the process, right? The system, the process, not the heart of the entrepreneur, not the passion. That's critical when you're starting a business and you're incubating it. But to grow a big business, it's all about governance. So if you don't already think about it like that, it's a good place to. You're going to get some of it in the book. People are reading the book, but I'm thinking about that as my next book because that's all I talk to. My portfolio companies that I'm invested in, entrepreneurs that I do growth coaching with, when I do mentorship or keynotes, it's all about setting up a governance system because that's the discipline to actually achieve what you want to achieve.
No, that's well said, man. I think for me, if I had to talk to a lot of the small businesses, which I deal with this a lot when I was first starting, I thought that you had to hustle your way in. You can figure out your product, you can figure out the distribution, like you said. But if you don't look at your numbers, then it makes no sense. But tell me, Mike, James Clear has this quote. He says, "You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems." Why is that so important when you're building a company at that stage, at that level? Because oftentimes people think you can hustle your way in, you can figure out the marketplace, and you can do everything on your own, which is something that I struggle with a lot, right? How do you let go when you're like trying to scale that business or you're trying to grow it?
Yeah. I think I said the quote earlier, but like I think being an entrepreneur, especially like brand new startup, is about as close to being a magician because you're making something out of nothing. Every day trying to figure it out, making something out of nothing. I think over time, if you keep that mindset instead of a structured system mindset, you have the potential of becoming the arsonist and the firefighter, both at the same time. And people get trapped in it and what they call, and that's why we say, don't just work in your business every day, work on your business, right? And like that's the governance plan. Like if you get trapped in just figuring out, and use the surfing analogy, if you're surfing and you're in the part of the wave that just the wave keeps hitting you on the head, and what you really need to learn is how to scoot over to the part of the wave where you ride it doesn't hit you on the head. In business, people could sit in the place where the wave's hitting them on the head over and over and not knowing what to do, not having the resources to do it. They're so trapped in every day. Like I see it over and over again, whether it's a startup business or someone's at 3,000 and their business has been at 300,000 for 5 years and they can't figure out how to grow it. The same is true at $1 million, the same is true at 10 million, the same is true at hundreds of millions. If you don't have that system of growth, you're subject to the day-to-day chaos, and small businesses like a whole nother level.
Mike, you're sharing a lot of nuggets and a lot of wisdom. Who's one person that's made an impact on your life? Because Mike today and Mike 20 years ago is a completely different person. Like, how did you learn all this stuff, man?
Yeah. I had some great mentors in my life, and I'll try to draw this to you all of what you could be thinking about on it. As soon as I realized in business that there's 4 departments. And I just think about, like, this is maybe simple thinking, but I try to break everything simple. Like in our personal life, we have physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, right? In business, we have sales, marketing, ops, and finance. And I as soon as I started thinking departmentally in business, I wanted to have mentors around me that could teach me that to be subject matter experts or be like disciplined in that area. And so my mom was the finance, you know, she's always been my finance mentor. I got to hire my mom after 21 years, and she was our first or second in command at finance, but she was my finance mentor for a long time. I had a sales mentor that was one of the top natural food sales CPG specialist, and you know, he built brands like Nature's Path and Cliff Bar, and so John taught me everything about sales, and I also had Mark Ragland, who was a mentor in marketing, and he built, you know, like Odwalla and some great brands back in the day, like $100 million brands. So both those guys taught me a lot of what I know in sales and marketing, at least to get to that point of you know, the passing the $5 million and really going to a large size company. Unfortunately, they're both passed now, and so is my mom. So all my mentors are not doing so well, but they taught me a lot. Anyway, my point to you guys is, like, I think about mentorship in 3 different ways nowadays, right? There's the traditional mentorship, which is the old guy and gal that maybe is a family friend, maybe someone successful that you meet. It's really challenging to find these mentors. If you do, and especially if they're a mentor in the business or activity that you're interested in, that's a gold mine. But there's peer-to-peer mentorship, right? And people that are entrepreneurs or business people that are in a similar space in life than you, usually doing, you know, not a competing business, that you guys can get together. That's why events like this are great. That's why I made the comment earlier, like, pick a couple people to go and have coffee with afterwards, because you could be peer-to-peer mentors to each other and say, I'm trying to figure out how do I put a sales plan together. Oh, me too. Here's what I'm doing, and share information back and forth. I had some great peer-to-peer mentors, and they were building natural food brands, and at the same time as I was, and we were all starting together, and all of us built 9-figure businesses, and like 4 or 5 of us that all hung out together for a decade, you know? And so I tell people the strategy is, because it's not unlimited, is like, try to get 4 or 5 people, peer-to-peer mentors that you're friends with, that again are in your industry or can teach you something, connect back and forth about sales, marketing, ops, and finance, and meet with them for a coffee on a monthly or bi-monthly basis and share that information, okay? So that's peer-to-peer mentorship. And then there's mass mentorship, which a lot of people don't do it right. They don't have the mindset to realize what's there. Like, we have everything at our fingertips nowadays, from like social, you know, any kind of information, AI, but that can also be really, really confusing. So the generation now is like, how do you trust? What do you do? Well, don't doom scroll your way to business success. An idea is, like, pick 4 or 5 people, mass mentors, that you can go and tune into their channel. You could read their book, you could listen to their podcast, you could absorb how they do business and what made them successful, and dive all into them for a bit. And the great thing about mass mentorship is, like, if you did 4 or 5 people for a year, next year you could change the channel, and you could focus on other people that are going to teach you different things. So if you line up those 3 forms of mentorship, and you do have an old guy or gal legacy mentor, you could definitely get peer-to-peer mentors, and you could focus your 5 mass mentors tonight and make your whole plan. Instead of doom scrolling, I focus on these 5 people to learn from business of what I want to learn from them. Combine those 3 forms of mentorship, and you'll learn all you need to know about yourself and be exposed to that, no doubt about it.
No, 100%, man. I truly believe your environment shapes your reality. So who you hang around with, the habits that you have, all those things really make a big impact on your life. Mike, talk about when you went from 70 million in 2016, I believe, and boom, you just by 2019.
You got all the stats.
I got all your numbers, man. Yeah. So how do you go from 2011, 10 million to, you know, 2016 to 70 million? What's like the mindset that you had to like okay, like now we're gonna, like, you know, now you're about to hit 100 million, so close, like, you know.
Well, we did different things there, right? Like, when we, from 10 to 50 million, those 5 years or 4 years, a lot of it was Costco, and like we hit it with hemp hearts at Costco. I don't know if anyone, who eats hemp hearts here? That wasn't that many people though, you know. After 28 years, I'm thinking, oh my God, there's still an opportunity. I should get back in the business, like Mike's Hemp Parts or something, you know. Like, no, really. But Costco brought mass consumer adoption because 1 out of every 2 households in Canada shops at Costco. And as soon as there's a pallet in Costco, people usually go, oh my God, it's there every time I come. It's got to be good because they're selling a lot of it, you know. And that really changed. Like of $50 million, at $10 million, we were doing 0 Costco. And at $50 million, we were doing 25 million of Costco. So half of the growth, more than half the growth, like 60% of the growth of on one SKU, one product. You know, we business with Costco annually with one product, one big bag of hemp hearts, which makes it really simple to execute, right? But what I said earlier is that if you have demand, like you can see the best, whether you're a product or service business, if you create a great brand and people understand your brand of product or service that differentiates and adds some value to something else they're buying or something that they're interested in, if you work really hard on that part of the business, then you create pull, and then when you're creating pull, it's a lot easier. Well, how do you go 10 to 20 million? Well, I was like, well, we went from 1 million in orders a month to 2 million orders a month, and I looked as an entrepreneur and said, to ship those $2 million in orders, here's the 300 things that we need to do. Let's do all 300 of those things, and we did them, and then we shipped the $2 million.
And you talked about focusing on one product. You know, what's that like? Focus and clarity, because that's like, how do you maintain that for? Because
yeah, I like to put KPIs and guide rails to kind of things, to, especially when you're dealing with other people. So, but I'll tell you this story. Like by the time we were the $6 or $7 million business, we had hemp oil, shelled hemp seed butter, hemp protein products. Okay. Launching hemp milk, so in an aseptic package, our 6th product, hemp milk, and I became clear, and of that, like shelled hemp seeds was about 40% of the business, and all the rest of the products were the other, just majority. But I came clear on not only is that our biggest differentiation, but it was our biggest money maker. If I looked at the margin and the structure, and I said, you know, we're a shelled hemp seed company, which end up being like we're a hemp heart company. And when we were $100 million, $80 million of it was hemp hearts, you know, in different sizes and formats, but $80 million with our expertise. Manitoba Harvest still to today, no business on the planet can compete with them making hemp hearts. Better quality, better yield, lower price, you know, like, and so it was, how did I decide? I decided first, I saw the vision through the data, like I saw the reports, and that's why you have to be financially astute in your business. But then when like to the team even, I would say, hey, listen, we're selling these other products, but how do you prioritize them? Well, I want you to say hemp hearts 7 times out of your mouth before you say protein or oil or hemp seed butter once, okay? And then the whole team, we had a smaller team at that time, but there's still like, you know, probably 50 people on the team, was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. We're focusing on hemp hearts, and the more that we focused on hemp hearts, the better that return, right? Where you see it opposite with entrepreneurs, that they think that they have to go wider and like create a whole bunch of new things. Even when they create a little bit of success, they want to create the next thing, when sometimes more of the success and the most simple way of success is selling more of what you're selling to the same customer, you know, or sell a new thing to the same customer. But if you start in any business and say, hey, I'm going to sell a new thing to a different customer constantly, especially in the product business, that's where you can run into big problems.
So you probably know your lifetime value, you know your customer acquisition cost, all that stuff. Nowadays, Hermosi talks a lot about.
I'm getting more and more into D2C, yeah, because you know, Midday Square is one of my portfolio companies, started as a D2C business. Bloom, B-L-U-M-E, Bloom out of Vancouver, started as a D2C business, and they have very large businesses now. Meatso, which is my newest portfolio company, we're an Indigenous-owned business that makes meat snacks based out of Edmonton, has a strong D2C, getting a lot stronger, and so I'm fascinated with it. My girlfriend's also a world-class Shopify designer, so.
Okay. Yeah. You know,
that was the marketing plug. No, so we talk about it. You know, I'm interested in it, like over and over and over again. Like, how's it working? Because again, you can build a good business from the comfort of your home when you think about it that way, right? Like online, create some good social content, have a good funnel that leads into a store, and people buy your stuff because they understand who Hanny is and what you're all about, and then they want to convert. You know.
That's like the new dream. Everybody wants to work.
Yeah, it is. But the only thing is, it's not an instant gratification moment. As soon as you tune yourself up to say delayed gratification, I love it so much that I do it for 10 years. I believe that there's a more likely chance to become successful.
100%, man. Tell me, Manitoba Harvest, hypothetical, when you went 2016, now we're going for 70 million. Were you like all over Canada? Were you, because you said Regina, Calgary, a lot of especially business owners in Winnipeg, they feel like, oh, Winnipeg is not a place I want to build a business. Oh, there's no market here. There's no this. Like, how did you take it? Like when you scaled it, now we're talking about 70 to 100 million plus. Did you have to go global? What was the strategy there?
Yeah, by the time we were $100 million, but $100 million was it was about 40 million in Canada, 45 million in the US, and then 15 million in 20 countries around the world. Mexico, the UK, Korea, Japan, Australia, anywhere there was a Costco, you know? So kind of followed Costco's success in Canada and the US. At that part was a big part of international, but you know, it's the reason that I do work now. In the last 2 years, I've been like, I want to have a bigger impact at home, because I had a big impact in Manitoba because we had 2 facilities and a big team that was manufacturing here, but I personally was hardly ever here. I was building our market in the rest of Canada and the US and that customer base. By the time we were a $100 million business, like less than $1 million for sure was in Manitoba, maybe like $500,000, you know? So the great thing about Manitoba, especially agriculture and food and beverage, is if you can make something here, because there's a tremendous amount of support. It's not, again, I mentioned it earlier, it's not, and there's nowhere easier in Canada to make a business, especially if you're in agriculture or food or beverage or any kind of product like that, than here. And if you can sell it from somewhere else and make it here, then your margin's probably good, and it's going to be a good business, you know?
But in order to grow, though, do you feel like you have to, like you talked about earlier, like surrounding yourself with those people who want to push you and uplift you? You know, because Manitoba, you know, the population, when you were first getting into it, it wasn't as big. The last like 5 years, I think we're crossing into a million.
Yeah, it depends what kind of product you're selling, right? Like in 1998, and I don't think it's too much different now. Like you're like, well, a health food product, selling it in Manitoba or selling it in Vancouver. You know, you're like, Vancouver's probably healthier than Manitoba. Go there, right? And so it depends what kind of product you're selling, though, right? If you're selling shovels or like ice blocks for your car, or you know, some winter coats or something, like, you know, Winnipeg's probably extra good at that. You know, but anyway, I think it's if you have a good product and you're shipping online, or you're shipping, you know, you get online with either your e-com or Amazon, you can ship it anywhere in Canada. You know?
Yeah. No, 100%. Mike, tell me, in your book, I think in chapter 2, you talk about this idea of give back every chance you get. Why is that so important, especially as a successful entrepreneur, as CEO, to give back to entrepreneurs, to the community, and like just support? Now you're investing into multiple companies. I think you said Midday Squares, and essentially the last 5 years you're more on like you're giving back. You're like, okay, I already have this successful business, I've scaled it. Now I want to just pour my heart out into someone else. What was that shift? Because a lot of people don't come to that realization. They have a successful business and they're probably somewhere in Hawaii chilling. Yeah?
I'm chilling. Yeah, I think it's twofold. Well, listen, I've always helped other people. I've realized that if I help other people, then they want to help me. And so I learned that from my mom, was just always helping people, even though she didn't have a lot to help. So I've always had that when I was younger. But you know, if you look at the current me, like 7 years ago, we sold Manitoba Harvest, and I divorced my ex-wife, and I became a single dad half the time to my kids, and my mom died all within 5 weeks of each other. And so like I went from a place of like riding some kind of high to I couldn't go to work every day because they literally gave my swipe card and keys in when they buy the business. They didn't welcome me there anymore. I couldn't hang out with my kids every other week because I didn't have them, and I'd never see my mom again. And so I went into this like super triple grieving crazy mode, trying to figure out what to do, how to feel good. I could do whatever because I had time and money, but how to feel good. And and I say I literally went into monk mode, you know, which if you don't know what monk mode is, you know, you can Google it. It's like an intense focus on oneself. And so I thankfully had a bunch of practices from like, you know, sleeping good and working on my health and my exercise and stuff. That was my foundation. I did that for several months. But out of that, I thought, I just came to this like, I just want to be helpful to other people. And I've learned since then, and I'll highly encourage you that like, you can't feel helpless when you're helping someone. So if there's ever a day that you feel like, oh, I'm feeling helpless, it's not working out or whatever, just go and like do many things, like open the door for someone or go talk to someone or phone an old friend or like make an impact like that and help someone else. You won't feel helpless, guaranteed. It's impossible to have both at the same time. So I tell people nowadays, what they see 7 years later is the most selfless thing that I do, because I do this because it makes me feel good. And I know that I'm helping a bunch of other people, and helping a bunch of other people also has residual positive effects for me and the whole community. But this fires me up. That's why I'm here doing this.
100%, Mike.
And showing up on LinkedIn every day for everybody here, every day. Who are we connected on LinkedIn? Just another little poll. Not that many, right? Who's on LinkedIn? Okay, everyone that's not on LinkedIn, do yourself a favor, put it as part of your plan the next couple months. Get onto LinkedIn. Send me a note, say you were here at the Hanny Lounge, and I'll be one of your first contacts on LinkedIn. And I guarantee, whether you're a student, you're working for somebody else, and you're working and growing your trade, or you think about entrepreneurship and you want to get people more on your journey, go onto LinkedIn and just start thinking about LinkedIn like a 24/7 trade show or a 24/7 Hanny Lounge, okay? Like, I'm gonna meet people, 5 people today, I'm gonna learn something, and like, I'm just gonna be in community. As soon as you switch that mindset and you do that repetitively every single day, I'm telling you, a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, your life will be different, your business will be different, you'll have more marketing coming in, you'll have more friends, you'll have the peer-to-peer mentors, you're gonna have more access. It's very different than being on Instagram or TikTok or one of the consumer things that you're going to just doom scroll your way to nowhere. It's a business platform that's like a 24/7 Hanny Lounge.
100%. I think in your book, you talk about this concept for a lot of people who are terrified or scared. I think this is in your chapter 1. You say that people would think if I share this, I'm putting myself at risk. This isn't true of people at the beginning of their careers. It's everyone. But the thing that I've learned is that no one gives a shit because they're worried about their own stuff. And if all you hide these very important pieces about who you are and what you're facing, you might not allow ourselves to leave work early or on time, or even, for example, to actually go to therapy in the gym. Why is that so important? When you look at these things, you're not just saying, oh, I'm just sharing these things, but you're looking at yourself in the mirror saying, you know.
Yeah, I've learned, and I mean, hey, I turned 50 in 90 days, so you're getting like the 50-year-old wisdom in me. I didn't always think this way, okay? But I've learned that the best place that I can be is standing in my light, okay? When I'm standing in my light and I'm working on my health and I'm talking health with other people and I'm trying to help other people and I'm building business and I'm building strategy, all those things, and a lot of them are delayed gratification stuff, so you'll see a theme there. I'm standing in my light doing that. I am not then in my shadows. And when I'm in my shadows, I'm like, I used to be a 300-pound person. I could tell you I had food addictions and alcohol and drugs and sex and gambling. Like, those are all moments away from me being bored and not standing in my light, working on the things that are like I'm super proud of, right? The delayed gratification stuff. So the reason that I'm like, I try to be an example, I'm being an example for me, that just so happens to resonate with a number of other people. Does that make sense?
No, 100%.
Yeah? I don't know if that made sense or not.
Another great point. This one actually really like made a hard impact on me because I grew up with a single parent mom. You talk a lot about this in your book. So you said, I think here you're having a conversation with your mom. You said, Mom, what are you gonna do? You said, Donnie asked her, I haven't taken more than 2 weeks off in 42 years that I've worked. So the day after I leave work, I'm going to take 3 weeks to decide I'm going to do. She laughed. On the last day of those 3 weeks, my mother passed away. It was sudden. It was devastating. It was devastating not only to lose her, but also to realize that she had spent every day of her adult life working hard. And then I realized the impact of Mom's life choices. And it wasn't just that she made ends meet. My mom made choices that held her spiritual, physical, mental, psychological, and emotional values. So, Mike, tell me, when that incident happened, you just had essentially about to sell your business, and you get that call like, your mom's has now passed away. It's like, what was that moment like for you?
Yeah, well, you made me cry. This is a good one. I'm cool with sharing my emotions. I don't get a lot of grieving from my mom anymore on the regular, but I definitely felt her there, so that's cool. Well, the story is, here's the whole take, and my mom worked for us. I mentioned that earlier, and so my mom, after working her butt off, was very, as an accountant would be, very disciplined on governance from that side of her life and business. Said, I'm going to retire when I'm 65, And we're like, okay, And it just so happened when she turned 65, which was the September before, we started to say, hey, we're going to sell the business. And so, being that my mom was a second in command in finance, she was really important in the business deal. And I said, Mom, how about we sell the business, because it's going to happen in the next couple of months, and then you retire. And she's like, okay, I'll do it until we retire. So we worked for 3-4 months, 5 months, and sold the business. And then, which was a great day. My mom saw the closing bell, and as we rang it, so to speak, and then 2 days later we had a retirement party. And so at Manitoba Harvest, everyone was celebrating her. I wasn't even working there anymore, I was already like the day that closed, it closed. Anyway, yeah, then the next day my brother and I took her out to brunch and said, like, what are you going to do? And she was very matter of fact, which my mom was, and said, I haven't taken more than 2 weeks off in the 42 years that I've worked full time. I'm going to take 3 weeks to decide what I'm going to do. And on the 21st day, she had a heart attack and died, which was devastating. Like the hardest day of my life, but it did teach me a lesson that my mom, like the spiritual side in all of us, and like my mom worked her ass off. Again, she broke the cycle. There was a lot of shit that she grew up with, and she broke the cycle to say, hey, I'm gonna raise my 2 boys to be great gentlemen. It was like her pride. And I feel like that was when she stopped working. This is why I'm not a big fan of retirement for anybody, is when you stop something that is your purpose or passion, even if you're looking for another purpose or passion, it's a danger zone, and I watched that happen. But I rest thinking like she accomplished everything she set out for.
Man, that's a remarkable story, because I can relate with it a lot on so many different levels. My mom's is still working, because as you know, when you're building a business and you're trying to help her, and there's still that hard work mentality, and sometimes we tend to, we're not grateful enough for the things that we have, and life could just automatically, things could just go. But for you though, Mike, like growing a business and doing the things that you've been able to do, you talk about this concept, you can live your best day every day. Like why is that so important? Because that's like, that moment happens, then like, okay, I still have another day to wake up tomorrow for myself now.
Yeah, I learned that term, that phrase from a friend, David Wolf, back in the day, and when I was hanging out in California launching Manitoba Harvest, the best day ever. And I always thought like that's the coolest thing, the best day ever. When I started to like work that out as part of my personal plan for myself, and then I had to ask a bunch of questions of myself, which then when I wrote the book, and I wrote a companion guide for that book that has the exercise. So anyone that got a book or wants a book, just send me a note on LinkedIn and ask me, and I'll email you, I'll message you the companion guide. Was this thought about, well, what does your best day ever look like? Well, there's no one best day ever, but there is everyone's best day ever, And questions you can ask yourself is like, what does good quality sleep look like for me? What foods do I need to eat to give myself the most energy and show up as like awesome? What kind of activities, exercise or otherwise, are going to energize me and make me feel my strongest? How do I want to spend my deep time in work? Like, where do I want to make that impact? What really lights me up? What does loving time with your friends and family look like? How do you want to spend those moments? And like doing that exercise and writing it out is great, because then you could do an audit of where you are right now, and it doesn't really matter where you are right now. You have clarity of where you want to go, and you could take action steps to going where you want to go. And I believe it doesn't matter what situation you're in, you can be clear with what your best day ever is and looks like. That can change over time. That could be stepping stones to it. But as soon as that's clear and you put a plan of action together, you'll be living that. And I live my best day ever like almost every day. It's not a perfect thing. It's not about that. It's about realizing we have one life, you know? And don't be scared about it. Don't like, you know, just go and take the action. Get clear with yourself what you want your life to look like. Don't be intimidated by anyone else, your friends and family, if it's totally weird from where you are right now or it just looks different, and then go and action that. We all owe it to ourselves. I want everyone to live their best day ever, so much that I wrote an exercise to try to explain it to people. So, yeah.
Tell our audience, what does a regular day for Mike Fata look like now at 50 years old?
Yeah. Well, I'm a time blocker, so for the last like decade probably of my life, like I was talking to someone earlier that we were signing a book, like I grew up, when I started the business when I was 21, I used to do to-do lists, and I had like to-do lists and then 5 to-do lists and then different to-do lists, and I realized, oh my God, you know it if you try that approach. Like if you have a to-do list every day and you rewrite it every day, like you can't be consistent with what you do. But if you take a to-do list and you understand how long it takes to do those activities and you put it in your calendar, done, right? So that's my success is time blocking most things. And so my day is, my calendar is blocked every morning from 7 to 10 a.m. on wellness, you know, and usually I'm a full-time solo dad, so I got to make sure my teenagers are out the door. But besides that, I usually like have a coffee, have a moment, get myself organized, touch in, maybe do some social media, like LinkedIn communication, go work out usually, and then do some kind of wellness like sauna or, you know, that moment of the day. And then I feel great and I jump into like deep work, and it's probably 10 to 4-ish, 6 hours-ish, I would think, if it's average, because there's other things, you know, I'll give myself permission to get a massage on a random Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever, but probably 6 hours of deep work. And then I'm a wellness guy after that. I like to cook healthy food. Thankfully, Carrie likes to eat healthy food too. I like going to the grocery store shopping. I go and I like making a whole bunch of different things that are healthy. We spend time eating. And then after that, it's some kind of like fun wind down period, unless there's some work involved or some project involved, but that's usually how it goes. Some form of variation of that, you know. If it's Tuesday, I'll make Taco Tuesday. Maybe we cook Italian, or, you know.
Yeah, Mike, tell me, man. I was searching the net. I was trying to look into like when someone sells a company for 100 million to 400 million, whatever it is. Like, what does that process actually look like? You know what I mean? Because when I was looking into it, you got 3 founders and you got a certain percentage of the company. I think it's like 10% or some crazy numbers. So a lot of time I think as founders or entrepreneurs, people think you need to own 100% of the pie, which is completely opposite. So just break down to our audience when you're exiting a company, because Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos don't own 100% of Amazon. They own like, you know, maybe 7%, 8%. So just break down that concept when you...
Yeah, a couple different things. I mean, when we started the company, we started with 3 co-founders, so I owned 35% of the business. The founders left afterwards, but we raised capital from other people. It was actually like a mindset shift moment for me, was hanging out with John Mackey. John Mackey's the founder of Whole Foods. We don't have a Whole Foods here, but if you probably heard of Whole Foods, right? Started out of Austin, Texas, and is the largest natural food grocery store in the world, and got bought by Amazon 11, 12 years ago now. Anyway, John Mackey, we were at this leadership retreat in Austin, and we were all sitting around the table at the end of the night, and he's like, I own 0.25% of Whole Foods. And I was like, oh wow, okay. Like, and he walked through, like, unless you're in a control situation in a business, i.e. like you have the voting control and you have the voting right as a main shareholder, it doesn't matter how much percentage you own. It matters what's the value of the business and what's the value of your equity, you know? So John Mackey at 0.25% of Whole Foods did pretty good when Whole Foods sold for $14 billion to Amazon, right? It was like a $400 million check or something to him. But you know, if you could either bootstrap your business and own it all, and some businesses that's good. Service businesses, that usually works because you're generating a pretty close to 80 to 100% profit margin, basically, depending on, like, if you're a solopreneur and growing up. In the product business, if you need more capital because you got to buy inventory, and for us, we had to buy manufacturing equipment to build the inventory, and so I knew that we needed to bring in other investors in the business just to finance the dream, and I was okay with having a small piece of a big pie, you know, instead of having the whole pie myself and screwing it up, you know, like, and so, but I've seen successful entrepreneurs that bootstrap their business, but I see more in our industry that are growing something massive, like to grow a $100 million business, hard to bootstrap that, you know, you're probably going to need investors, and how do you align the investors? What's the terms of the deal that allow you to keep meaningful ownership, so one day if you're successful that you do sell the business and get a life-changing amount of money. Like all of that is in the details of the legal, and you want to have good people around you, which I did surround myself with to learn all that.
I think there's a huge debate. People say, would you take stock or did you take equity? Did you take cash? What do you think about that idea when someone is coming to you as a founder and you're looking to exit this business now? You're looking to get out.
Oh, if you're selling it? Yeah, I think it depends how marketable the equity is, but you have to think about it. If you just sold your business for stock, if the company's publicly traded, which we sold Manitoba Harvest to a publicly traded company the first time, majority, actually both of them were publicly traded transactions. And then I took one of my portfolio companies public. So if you have a public share, you have at least a way to market that equity. If you had a private business and you sold it to another private business and they just gave you shares, they just own your business now, but you don't have any controls, but you're a partner. You have to really believe in that business because you can't probably get out of those shares. And so cash is good. You can do whatever you want with cash.
Because I was reading a story about Maggie Johnson, Maggie Johnson, basketball player, who when he was first starting in the NBA had this big contract, but he ended up not really buying into the Nike stock because I think Phil Knight gave him this crazy vision and idea, and at that time it was worth nothing, and I think that was one of the
well, and it's a point for anyone that even if whether you're in business or you work for someone else, you're never going to get rich on your salary. You know, it's almost impossible to get rich on a salary. It doesn't matter how much salary you make. It's kind of proven that if you make $50,000 a year, you go to $100,000 a year, you spend it all. When you get $200,000 a year, okay, maybe you're saving some, but it's not going to make you wealthy, right? What's going to make you wealthy is investing in equity and then appreciation of equity, whether that's like a combination of being in the stock market or owning real estate and it appreciates, or you're investing in yourself and your own business and you appreciate your own business, right? And then sell it one day. But most people, like there's not unless you're thinking about your parents' age where they're like, just get a job and work 40 years and then you can retire, like, by then you'll probably have enough wealth at 65, 70 to try to make the last little bit, but for most people it doesn't work unless you invest. You need to own equity.
Yeah, and currently you're at this stage right now, you're looking for founders. There's a lot of startups in the room, people who have a vision, they have a product. What do you see in entrepreneurs? Someone, for example, like Midday Squares, I think Jake Carl's and people you're investing into, how do you find these people? Like what's that drive? Like, like you said earlier, you're obsessed about the product, your thing you're selling.
Yeah. How
do you see that, okay, like I'm gonna put money into this business and I'm gonna we're gonna...
Yeah, my investment thesis is pretty simple. It's products that I have in my house that I enjoy. Like, that's why I like food and beverage. Healthy food and beverage is my lane. But it's products that I have in our house that it's always on the shopping list, and there's usually a 2X beside it because it's super important because we like it. And then it's founders that I meet that for those companies that I also want to have at my house and have over for dinner and strategize with, because when you're investing in someone like that, it's like a marriage, it's like a relationship. And then after that, I analyze the business because I'm a growth-minded person. I'm not an angel investor, so I don't invest in startup businesses. I'm a venture investor. So I look for companies that are like 5 million in revenue, and then I'll invest and help them build the business to 50 million in revenue and sell the business one day. And so there's different investors at different stages of company. Angel investor is what, if your friends and family aren't investing in you and you're a startup, you need an angel investor group, because VCs, whether they're individual VCs, family offices, or institutional fund VCs, invest in a proven business to expedite the growth, not to prove a concept generally.
Yeah. And when you see a founder, what's like one trait that they have that you're like, okay, like this guy is about to do something?
Yeah. Well, we talk all the time about. You've probably heard the concept product market fit. People look for product market fit. Okay. Product market fit is important, but founder product fit and founder market fit are equally or more important. And let me just break that down a little bit, is that if you think about founder product fit, why is the entrepreneur doing this product? And I'll give you the opposite, just to me, like, you wouldn't think about a vegetarian having a meat snack company, right? That wouldn't be founder product fit. But if you get a founder that like is, a rancher, and he's all about like meat, his whole family line, he's a third generation rancher. Him getting into meat snacks, he's probably going to really understand the business and the opportunity there, because there's founder product fit. And founder market fit, when he went out to market, people would be like, oh yeah, makes total sense that Chuck's doing meat snacks, you know? Like if you get product market fit, founder product fit, and founder market fit, those three together in an analysis, it's usually going to be a Jake Carls from Midday Squares or Karen from Bloom. And I'm not just pumping the tires of the portfolio company. I could tell you a whole bunch of people that have had successful
How many
businesses.
companies do you currently have in the portfolio right now, Mike?
There's 7 in the portfolio.
Yeah, and you talked, I think there's a thing you talked about where you had companies that actually went under, that failed, like 3 of them or 4.
Yeah.
What was like your biggest lesson from those ones?
After we sold the first portfolio company that I invested in, Soul Cuisine, we grew the company 3x and we sold it in 2022 at a $125 million transaction. And I got really excited as an investor and said, oh, I should just put some more money back in. I should take some of this and parlay it back into other investments. And I went against my new way of thinking. Then I thought, I just told you, if I have a product that I love in my house and it's a founder that I meet and it's great and I want to have in my house and it's a good business, I'm going to invest. And so I invested in 3 companies. Where I went wrong was I didn't have a relationship to have a governance board seat or advisory role with the business. And so I wasn't involved at all in the strategy or really helping those founders out. And unfortunately, all 3 that I wasn't involved in failed. And the 7 that I am involved in are, majority of them are on a skyrocket growth. So I don't think, oh, well, I could have saved those companies. You know, my ego won't let me get there, but I don't know because I wasn't involved and it drives me fucking nuts. So my new mandate for myself is I only invest in companies, venture stage companies, that I'm going to play an active role. You know, like Mitso, my newest portfolio company, I act as the chairman of the board. I'm helping the founder, the CEO, the senior leadership team grow all aspects of the business. And so I'm involved and I can feel like an entrepreneur, but I'm not exposed to the same level of stress because I'm not operating the business. And so now that's the thesis the change to my thesis of investments that I'm looking for.
No, that's well put, man. Mike, now like the last.
That was an Instagram reel or something right there?
Yeah, something like that. It's probably gonna go talk about Instagram, man. I want to talk about how you've been able to build a brand, man, because I'm seeing people don't know, like, this is actually real story. When I was telling people, like, yo, I got Mike Fata coming to the event. Like, this guy sold his company. He's like, who's that? Like, who? Like, so talk about, like, when I search your stuff and you got 70K, like, so people still don't know who you are. That just shows you, like, people think, oh, like, I have 100 posts. People know me. Like, no one even knows you, man. I got 500 posts. No one knows me. I think Maddie probably has thousands of posts. This idea that people actually know who we are is I think Hermosi talks about this a lot as well, too. So why is building a personal brand so important in today's marketplace? Because you started doing it and you went website, you said, okay, I'm going to coach people, I'm going to help them, I'm going to document this process. And you've been able to grow, but you're very consistent and you have a message and people relate with the message. And I think sometimes you're traveling the world and people are like, oh, I saw you from this LinkedIn post or I connected with you with this. Why?
Now it's wild. Going to a trade show, and especially in our space. And in natural products, I was down in Anaheim and then in Vancouver. It's wild. Everyone wants to connect and build community because we're connected online, right? And so, but to your point, like, I was anti-social media up until 6 years ago, okay? So when we built Manitoba Harvest, we had, for half of that business, we had Instagram and Facebook and stuff, and I would have a Peeper account to understand what the brand was doing in marketing, but I wasn't into sharing any aspect of myself. I was actually scared of it. And I only realized through COVID and going through my time of like, okay, I'm helpless, I want to be helpful, but I don't have an outlet to help people. And then when I went onto LinkedIn and I started posting just about myself, like just stuff that was going on, like I went to my therapy appointment and that's like 12 years of therapy now. Isn't it strange that people don't even talk about therapy, but if you changed it to performance coaching, everyone would jump all over it? Like a post like that went off because people say, oh, I feel that way too, but I don't know if I'd say that. Here's the point. our brains are there to protect us, and sometimes it sends false signals like, don't go and post, or hey, you already told your story, Hanny, 10 times. Don't tell it 11th time. People are going to think you're ridiculous, or whatever we tell ourselves in our head stops us from doing the reps. And it really is about consistency. Like if I look back, there's 60,000 people on LinkedIn now, and it's not about it's really not about the numbers. I know. I said it earlier, when your community wants you to win, you're unstoppable. Like my community wants me to win. I live in that every day. It's a benefit of the work that's been done. But it's like showing up every day, you know? I show up and share something about myself. Okay, that's, I got over my fear of what are people gonna think about me, you know? And then my family, I have to get over their fear of what are people going to think about you when you're still not fully there. But my kids give me a hard time. Why do you share that about yourself? And I'm like, I'm just being me. Why did I show up here in shorts and I'm on a baseball cap when I'm on a keynote stage? I'm just giving myself license to be me. When you do that consistently over and over again, you give other people license to be in your community. People say, wow, you're really successful, Mike, but you're really approachable. Like I can come up to you and whatever. I'm like, yeah, because I'm just living my life being me, and I want everyone to win, and I want to plug into everybody, and I'm using that as the main tool. I'm not to a place where and I think about this because I wrote a book, and so I had to give myself guide rails of the book. I don't want to let my ego get away from itself and be like, I want the biggest, baddest community and amount of people following me ever. If I did, I'd put a lot of money to it and do more of that, but that's not necessarily going to make me feel like a better person. So I just enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy coming out in a community like this. I enjoy seeing the community online, engaging with people, following up. It's how I learn, it's how I network, it's how opportunities come, and it's how, if I look back now over the last 6 years on LinkedIn, every one of my portfolio companies I might have met them in real life, but we developed a relationship on LinkedIn. I've coached hundreds of founders. I do hourly growth coaching. All came to me through LinkedIn. I'm a keynote speaker for the last 3 years. I've done like 30, 35 keynotes. All of it comes in, hey, do you want this opportunity on LinkedIn? Paid keynotes in Canada, US, Mexico. And so I've learned the power of what happens when we put ourselves out there, and people can learn and get to know us from afar. They just want to connect and collab and do more things.
Yeah, and I think the thing that I relate with you a lot is like you're very relatable. Like, you know, I think you had a post where you talked about, you know, you have this like old vehicle, like, you know, you live very like
my 77 Volkswagen Westfalia.
I think so. Yeah. I think I've seen that. Yeah. So people think when you get to a certain number like yourself, people assume like, oh, this guy must be driving a Ferrari, he must be living life. But how do you? Because I think life is about principles, and if we study principles, like when you look at, for example, a guy like, you know, Think and Go Rich, the book Think and Go Rich, he studied the most successful people and he put all the blueprints in there. One of them was Henry Ford. Henry Ford spent the first 50 years of his life making money, and then he spent the next 10 years giving it away, because he ended up saying, I made all this money, now I'm going to start giving it away. Essentially what you're doing is very similar, but you know, sometimes too, money doesn't have to be like actual money, it's giving knowledge, resources. And why is that so important to tell young people, especially like myself? You go on Instagram, see people in Ferraris and Bentleys and all this, but you know, so how do you stay authentic to yourself, Mike?
No, and hey, I'm just give myself license to be me. You know, like I wrote a post, and this is nothing. If you want a Lamborghini, and that's going to fire you up to make like $250,000 to buy a Lamborghini, do that. You know, that's not me. You know, I don't. I'd like to rent a Lambo and drive it down the coast of Italy for like 3-4 days, and then give it back to them. You know, like. I'm not too nostalgic about too many things, but I am about my Volkswagen van, because I bought her 23 years ago, and I promised, it's 1977 Westfalia camper van, and I camped in it all the time, and I said to myself, one day I'm going to renovate her. One day I'm going to take the time and the money, it's over $100,000 to fully frame up, restore it, you know? Took 23 years to live that dream, and 2 years ago I made it happen, and so now the world sees like, oh, this Volkswagen van. For 21 years it was like, lived in my garage, and I was like, given, you know, like one day I'm going to do it, and that really fired me up, right? And so you hear that people share that version of themselves, like, you know, I love it. Gary Vee says like he wants to buy the New York Jets, right? Is he going to buy the New York Jets? I don't know, but he's fired up to say, like, you know, you need to make up like $10 billion to buy the team. But I think we should all have that. And don't be ashamed if you want the Rolex and the Beamer or whatever, because I know a bunch of people that do, and they're being themselves, and that's okay. Some people do, and that's not being themselves. That's where you get into trouble. But if that's truly you, go after that. Use that optimistic philosophy and thinking that you believe it, you deserve it, you can build that, and use that as fuel to fire you up, so that whatever you're working on, whatever project you're working on, you just give it your all. You know, you make that happen. Buy your Lambo, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
Create your own destination goals. Mike, last one for you before you wrap it up. Like, what does the future look like for Mike Fata and what you're building for the next 5 to 10? Because I know you're a long-term thinker.
Yeah, I think, I mean, at this point in life, it's got clear for the last little bit, but I think about life in seasons, right? So, and 5 years seems to be a good season of life, but it's also kind of in business, it lines up to a 5-year plan. My next 5 years probably look very similar to what's currently going on. You know, my kids are teenagers, and 5 years from now, it's going to definitely be a different season, but somewhere in the next 5 years, it's going to transition, similar season to this. I'm, you know, making an impact on this portfolio of companies. I coach people. I go and do public talks. I might have another book in me. I spend a lot of time on wellness. We travel the world and do fun adventure, cool things, because you know, all we have is with us is to take adventure and things more than stuff, right? So yeah, as I think about it, after 5 or 6 years of building Mike 2.0, or the second part of my career that I built since we sold the business. Now I feel like the next 5 years is going to be kind of similar in that space, and then I don't know after that. It'll be a different season of life, though, and there could be radical different changes part of it, but I don't know.
Yeah. No, Mike, I want to say, man, thank you so much for, you know, coming out in the community, being able to, you know, support someone like myself who's just getting started. Because oftentimes we don't have an outlet, we don't have anybody that can really show us the ropes. Like I was telling you earlier, I think I made a post the other day, like growing up in the inner city, we see people playing basketball, becoming rappers. Nobody talks about entrepreneurship or starting a business or scaling it past hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Like for us growing up, it's people go to jail, or they're in gangs, right? So being able to see that, and you're here to be able to share that, and like this stuff is actually real. You can actually do this. It's possible, you know what I mean? So I really appreciate your time, man. It's very valuable for me to be able to learn from someone like yourself, especially being young in the marketplace. And but like Mike says, man, let's grow, let's keep going. And you know, I appreciate everybody for showing up. It means a lot. I hope you took one piece of nugget that Mike talked about or said, and you can go apply it in your business, in your life. And but I really like your aspects because, you know, health, wealth, spirituality, that's what you really believe in, right? And faith as well too. So it really relates to me a lot, and we can all learn from that. So thank you, everybody. If you got we'll take 3 questions, but we're not gonna go all day because I know Mike's time is very, very crunching.
Yeah, I go to bed at 10 o'clock. So,
what time is it? We take some questions. Oh man, what time is it, Mike?
Yeah, it's 8:39. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, go ahead. Oh, my hands are coming up. Okay, go ahead, brother. Question.
All right, so thank you. Very interesting. The one thing I want to know is, if you had to do it over again, would you take your 2,800 or your 3,000 and buy the press, or how would you manage that situation differently?
Yeah, I get asked, especially in business circles, if I would do anything different. I'm just such a believer that everything happens for a reason, so I couldn't do life over, and I wouldn't suggest anyone do it over, even the painful parts, because I could tell you this, as someone turning 50, the biggest things that I remember in business were the hardest times, not the easiest times, and so we accomplished it, right? And so I look back and say, don't be scared of the hard times or think that because that's what you're going to remember. You know, that's the experience to actually get where you want to go. That fires me up. You know, it's like when the day's hard, that's supposed to be hard. You know, we'll look back on this and remember this one. Nothing. That doesn't mean that it has to be a bad thing.
100%. You got Blaze.
When building the business and sacrificing, like you're seeing other people doing stuff, going on trips, how do you make it worth it? Like I quit drinking about 2.5 years ago, and I sometimes are looking like, is it worth it? Like it looks like it's a lot of fun or whatever. But even the business side of things.
Yeah. I see you guys on Mexico or doing something. Don't give me too much of that, but you know, one of those memories. You know, when we launched hemp milk, you know, so 7-8 year business, on my birthday, my family and friends were out celebrating, and I was at the factory because there was a problem with the run and we had to run overnight, and I literally had wet, cold feet, and I worked until 4 o'clock in the morning on my birthday, missed the whole celebration and the dinner and the cake and stuff. And I'll never forget that, man. Like that, it's such a, like, you know, it's those moments that power you up. Don't think about, again, like, think about it as delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is a good thing. The longer you do that, the better your life's going to be. We could all fall into instant gratification instantly, and we all know where it goes when you spend too much time there, right? So sounds good. Hey, listen, sometimes the vision of going, I didn't drink for 10 years. When I was like in my 30s to 40, basically, I just decided that alcohol was going to slow me down from being a good father to my kids. I couldn't keep up in business. I wanted to train harder. And I missed a lot of times when I was like, oh, but then I started going out and being like, you know what, it's really fun when I'm out and not drinking, and like change that mindset, you know? It wasn't until I got a little bit later that I was like, I was driving myself crazy going, I'm Italian, I just want a glass of wine, you know what I mean? And I'm old enough, and because I look back and said, actually my biggest fear was that I was gonna lose control and not have control, and now I don't have that fear, you know? Yeah, you're welcome.
JD.
So I'm pretty new to LinkedIn. You've obviously put some time and effort into it. My Instagram, Facebook content is going to be more focused to the consumer I'm trying to serve. I'm in the mortgage industry.
Yep.
So my LinkedIn content, should it be a copy paste of that kind of a content, or am I looking at it as more a way to grow partnerships? I'm talking to my potential partners who are going to refer me kind of thing.
Yeah, more business. Not to say there's not consumers on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, there's 1 billion people now that are on LinkedIn. The great thing about LinkedIn, besides it being more business focused, is 1% of people create content on LinkedIn, and so there's a shortage of content. Only 10% of people on LinkedIn actually engage, like something, comment on something. 90% of people on LinkedIn are peepers. They just go on there to see other people, get inspired, read the news or whatever. And so the benefit is like enormous from organic reach on it right now. But and I have a daily LinkedIn checklist. If you send me a note on LinkedIn, I'll forward it to you. Just some things to think about as like a system. If hey, I'm going to come to the Hanny Lounge of 24/7 Hanny Lounge, here's the 10 things I'm going to do today to be the most impactful for your business. But the content itself and how you show up, just talk to yourself like, things that you're learning now, things you learned in the last year. You got to remember this, that even if you've been in business for 3 years, it's their first year in business and they want to know what 3 years is like. Even if you just launched your business, there's people that are like, one day I'm going to launch a business, or you're 5 years into real estate and they're just coming into it. Like, if you think about talking to this yourself from before and the things that you've learned, you're going to naturally attract your community. When you're attracting your community, all the residual people, your customers, your suppliers, anyone you want to network with is going to just come around you because they're going to say, hey, you're just a real person that's doing your thing.
Could you do just both? Like one post is consumer-centric and
Yeah,
one story?
and not consumer-centric. You can share some of it, but even if you shared consumer, you'd say like, we wrote this campaign, here's what we learned about it, or, you know, be a little more information. But if you look at my content on LinkedIn, it's like I have 3 channels that are just me, right? And it's health, entrepreneurship. So health, like I'll share the things I've learned in health or how I'm thinking about or new things that I'm learning, it's like some of the weirdest stuff that I share, like, hey, I had an inversion table and I hang upside down. I've been doing that for a long time. It's good for my spine. But like health stuff, and then entrepreneurship, what I'm learning in business, what I've done in business, you know, leadership approach to business, and then mentorship, like things that I can share that are cheerleading other people, showing up there, like my 60-second pitch show. All that's came out of that thought of the channel. So I like the 3-channel approach, at least 2 or 3 channels, 2 or 3 parts of you. You know, you're an entrepreneur, you could talk about entrepreneurship. You know, if you're a parent, you can talk about parentship as it relates to leadership or business or whatever. And then you like soccer, bring that in there too, and people are going to get a better flavor of you. And you're just going to be able to say, like Gary Vee says is best, don't try to content create, just document what you're doing. And if you're documenting what you're doing and you're saying, I'm going to share the personal part of me, I'm going to share the business part of me, and I'm going to share the community part of me, that it gets really easy, you know?
100%. Kind of line,
First of all, thank you so much, Mike, for sharing your insights. My question for you is, one thing that stood out is you talk about governance, and how governance takes you from small scale to big scale, right? And how you do one thing oftentimes is how you do everything. So as a small business owner, what kind of governance principles should we be implementing in today's world to make sure that we are setting ourselves up for the future?
Yeah, it's a simple plan. Like I mentioned it earlier, but anyone that wants I started a couple of years ago sharing my personal growth plan for the year. Like I call it a ugly PowerPoint simple plan. You know, it's simple because it needs to be simple. It's what we wake up every day and say, besides all the things that we know we have to do in our business, what are the things that we have to work on in our business in a certain frequency? And so I shot a video for an hour walking people through my plan, and then I provide the ugly PowerPoint template so you could fill in your own growth plan, because you need a plan. You need a roadmap for the year that can sit not on a filing cabinet, sit on your desk, and when you wake up, you're like, yeah, I know that I have to do all the actions for today, but I have to work on these big lever things. And just send me a note on LinkedIn. I'll forward you I have the recording and the template. Forward it to any of you guys. You can watch that for an hour. Whether you're just starting a business, it's a good way to frame it, because it's sales, it's mission of your business, but then sales, marketing, ops, and finance, and like all that together, right? Because it's one thing to say, I'm going to grow my business from $50,000 to $200,000 this year, and it's another thing to say, that's going to require 6 customers paying me $2,000 a month. Here's how I'm going to go and market to those customers, and so everything aligns. Like get really, really clear with what the growth looks like, and you know, that's I can't turn that stuff off. That's what I do all day now. I'm trying to like share that in places and pieces for people. The book's probably going to help you out too, because there's some things in there, a lot around community, giving back, how to organize yourself, that you can learn that governance peer to peer. Like everyone heard the meet a couple people, right? Like if you haven't done that already, like someone that's like super interested, I don't know what your strengths and weaknesses are, but if you say you want to learn governance more and you say, hey, but my strength is I'm a super people person, I can organize, I'm sales focused, I can whatever, go and meet up with someone that has what you can teach you something and then teach them something. Super powerful, you know, even if it's just 1 or 2 people doing that, it's super, super powerful.
Okay, man.
Thank you very much, Mike, for once again. As someone in the AI space, working with a founder, thanks to LinkedIn, I noticed one pattern with most people. I noticed that some people try to run away from 9 to 5, only to create a 24 hours kind of job trying to grow the business, but sometimes they don't really break even. So from your point of view and experience, what kind of mindset separates people who create a business towards freedom and other founders who create a business towards more like working for the business instead of
Yeah. Well, it's hard. It's hard because every business has a different scale, right? Like in our business, because we were owning manufacturing equipment and stuff, it was actually $10 million was the sustainable level of business. Before $10 million, I was just a trap in the machine. I would never got out. But different businesses have a different level. Sometimes it's like a $200,000 business and someone's like cranking the business and they go, wow, but I'm only making $40,000 at the end of the year. The business is sucking. If I got a job, I'd be making $60,000. I should be better off to get a job, you know? It's like that unfortunately for a lot of entrepreneurs is why people don't make it. Like 90% of businesses don't make it past 5 years, and 99% of businesses don't make it past 10 years because of that. It gets really tough when you're in the hitting over the waves hitting you on the head, instead of like you don't have time to then step back and say what's really standing in the way. Is this business going to be successful? Has the feasibility of it changed, or do I just need to do some things? If I need to do some things, what are the things I need to do? What good looks like, and then just go get those things done so you get out of that a little bit more revenue, a little lower cost to get bottom line, like whatever it is. That's the real challenge in entrepreneurship. And there's not just one right way, right? Because every business, some businesses can have a scale of a couple $100,000 and the person's making $100,000 a year and they're very happy. And other ones can be like, you know, my story of like get to $1 million after 5 years, losing $100,000 a year, and realize I have to be a $10 million business. I'm like, wow, I'm really trapped in this business. And so, but that's the way to dissect it. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Esther. And then we'll go after Brian.
Hi, thank you so much, Mike, for this insight. I know at certain level in the business, people tend to assume certain things. Like the outsiders think that maybe there's no challenges at your level, but I know there's something that keeps you up at night. What would that be?
Nothing's keeping me up at night. Me? Or you? No, I sleep really good. I generally go to bed at 10 o'clock and I wake up at 6 or 7. I'm well rested. Nothing's keeping me up at night. But when I was in business, when I was operating a business, you know, I'm doing a lot of business things, right? I'm an investor, I'm an advisor, I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, I'm a public speaker. but I'm not operating a business every day where I have the stress of a team that says like, hey, I need something from you, and you have to figure it out on the fly, right? And so I don't have that stress. When I was operating the business, my stress was spinning plates of the business and trying to figure out what is the plate that is going to drop and which one's really important to not let it drop, so it's going to get you to that next level while you're spinning them all. You know, that would keep me up at night. And it led to things like when I learned we have a totally shitty accounting system for whatever stage we're at in business. I have to go this weekend and rebuild that whole accounting system, and it's going to take like, you know, a long weekend, 70 hours of like 80 hours or whatever, and I have to do that. And then when I did those things, all of a sudden we got a little lift in the business, and I was like, oh yeah, I had an impact on that. It was a little less stressful. But being in business is stressful. That's why stress relief, being your best self, working on your health, making sure that you don't, the tendency as entrepreneurs is to sacrifice for the business, and I'll catch up on my health later. Sacrifice on the business, and I'll get rested later. That's a slippery slope, you know. So.
Wow, it's powerful. Yeah, Brian.
Thanks so much for sharing. I'm wondering, because you were so involved in the business for so many years, what made you decide it was time for a change of season of life and to sell the business?
Yeah, we had shareholders. So by the time, like, we had friends and family plus 20 farmers that invested in the first, call it 10 years of the business. So when we sold Men to Harvest twice. In 2015, it was because we had venture capital that said, hey, we were in there and all the shareholders, it was time for them to exit. And so we brought in a private equity business that bought out all their shares, bought some of mine, but I stayed on with the management team in the business. And then the second transaction was because the timing was just really right, you know, like, and I've learned now that timing in business, especially when it relates to exits, are really, really important because, you know, where the market's at, where the competitors are at, where the demand is at for a certain business really can intensify the value of the business and the transactability, and that can change within months sometimes, you know, if you miss the timing.
So we'll take the last
just
one.
Just knowing the market, you know, like I say, if you're in business, listen, if you're in, there seems to be there's financial service people here and real estate, you know, but if you're in any industry, try to become, what can you become a subject matter expert in, you know? We need to be certain generalists in business, but the more specialists that we can be, the better it is, right? And so I learned the bigger our business got, I had to become a specialist, not only varieties of hemp seed and how we extract it and sold to consumers, but I had to understand the market cycles. You know, if we look at what lined up in 2018, recreational cannabis was legalized, okay? And so all of the penny stock cannabis companies became like $100 billion market cap. They had huge market caps. I was watching all that. I was invested in some of those companies personally on the stock market. Trump signed the Farm Bill and legalized hemp in the US, and after 20 years of us lobbying, he finally did it. And 2 days after he did that, or 7 days after he did that, the DEA, the FDA in the US granted us GRAS status for hemp parts and oil and protein, saying they're safe foods, every American can eat them. And I'm like, if that's not a time to sell the business, then like this is the time. And I convinced the private equity company, which really had the majority ownership, I was still a minority, saying this is the time. And I just so happened to, this is a cool part of the story, good way to end actually.
Yeah,
this is a good,
I'm actually interested to hear that.
And so I had met Brendan Kennedy, the CEO of Tilray, who ended up buying the company, which was one of the largest cannabis companies publicly traded in Canada. I had met Brendan at an event that we had here through Young Presidents Organization, YPO. Anyway, I'm like, well, I'm gonna look at all the cannabis companies, and Tilray looked like the one that would be best for us. And I sent Brandon a note on LinkedIn, and I look back, I posted about this recently because I had 600 people. It was like 2 weeks into being on LinkedIn, sent him a note and said, Brandon, hey, can we connect and see if there's any, thing together in the two businesses? And within like 3 months, we sold the business in the $419 million transaction. So like, it's an interesting thing that if I would have sent Brandon a note on Instagram, I would have never heard back. TikTok, no. LinkedIn, the CEO of, at that point, was a $10 million business, answered my message, you know? And so that's how it all went down. Timing, keep your eye on what's going on around you, you know, and in your industry, know your industry, and you'll be more powerful, you'll make more money, you know. There's the earning season of life, the learning season of life, and then the earning season of life. The more you put into the learning season of life, which there's a lot of young folks here, the better your earning season of life is going to be.
Question for you, Mike. Ray Dalio talks about, he has a book called The Changing World Older. I think during the pandemic we saw the Federal Reserve giving out the money and stuff. Do you think though there is a bubble spike that happens? Because as you said, cannabis really took off, Tilray. I think there's other companies that really. So how did you see that one happen? Like, what was the instincts like? Because there was definitely a massive downhill. I mean.
Yeah. It happens all the time. The marketing, in 30 years that I've been in business, we've seen like I think two recessions, and there's experts in this. I'm fascinated just to try to understand my little part. But everything is a cycle. Everything is a boom and bust cycle. And so if you watch long enough, the stock market just happens, right? And because we did it again, like I knew the timing was right. I didn't know that 6 months after we sold the business, all of those cannabis companies crashed down, and that deal likely wouldn't happen. If it did happen, maybe it was like a couple $100 million, not 400. And we did the same thing in Soul Cuisine, which was one of the oldest plant-based protein companies in Canada, made veggie burgers, veggie dogs, all that before the Beyond Meat and all that craze. And at the height of all of that, we took the company public because I saw the opportunity, and then we sold the business in a transaction because the timing was right. And the same thing, 6 months after that, as you can all probably see now, like people aren't interested in plant-based things; they want to go back to eating meat, dairy, cheese and stuff. So the timing is everything.
The reason why I remember that because I invested in Tilray and Canopy Growth, and I bought high and got smacked in the market.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
that's why I remember that very good. So, like I said again, thank everybody for showing up. It's a pleasure. We're gonna. Let's get like a group photo together, and then we're gonna start talking. I know Mike has a very short time, but Mike, final wrap up.
No, I was just gonna say, like for sure, if you send me a note on LinkedIn if you want to. Say that you're at the Hanny Lounge because I have. There's a couple thousand not DMs, but just introductions will be hard, But if you say you're here, then it's easy for me to connect, and let's bring it all to the 24/7 trade show. It's been nice. Hopefully you learned something.
Absolutely. Let's keep doing it, man. Let's go. Let's grow. Let's get a group photo going before we start talking, and then everybody can get a picture of Mike if you like. Where should we stand? Right over here? It's a pleasure, man.
Yeah, man, that was awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we're just going to use the white background. So you're going to fill this way?
We'll go this way. Yeah, we'll probably have. Go this way? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Fucking hot in here.
That was good. Move all these chairs. Great question there, Brian. That was a great question, man. Yeah. Let's all go back over here. I don't know why you chose this way, don't you? Someone want to push these chairs out? You got the mic? I think you turn it off. So let's all go behind over here in the back. Yeah. Appreciate it, bro. Great question, bro.
I don't even remember when I connected with you on LinkedIn.
Yeah. That was good, bro. Hey, Mike. You want to sit up here, Mike? Magic. Yeah, good. Let's get a picture, man. Yeah, let's all go back here. Come on, everybody, let's go. People can sit down, or if you like, if you want to sit and stand, it's cool. So let's get everybody in the shot, and I think we can go. Come on, let's go. Mike, I think I'll probably get into that big chair. If anybody wants to grab the chairs, you're more than welcome. Great question, man. Yeah, I'll probably move this chair. You can get this chair right here if you like. Come on, everybody. Let's get in the shot. Let's get in the shot.
This is a marketing picture. You have a copy of Bro, hold the Bro book up.
Yeah. I think I was gonna sit there.
There you go.
Yeah, my bad.
We're marketing here.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes we gotta use the mic. Yeah, there you go. I had to make it live. I had to actually read the book, man. I had to let them know, like, this is, you know what I mean?
I wish you got it on my phone.
Man, reach out to Mike, man. I know he has plenty of those books somewhere. It's awesome. Let's take this guy out. Get in there. And if you got a book, show off your book. Here you go.
Yeah, show off the book. Show off the book. If I don't see you showing off the book on the picture on LinkedIn,
You gotta come on in the picture. You gotta get in there. We got a lot of space back here. Come on.
Tighten up.
So what we looking at? Which camera? Which eye you going?
Yeah. Pretend like you like each other. Oh yeah. There you go. Perfect. There we go.
So we're looking at Fata right there.
It's heating up in here.
So 3, 2, 1, grow.
Yeah, let's grow. Let's grow.
Okay. 3, 2, let's grow.
Hey, you take a picture first, and then everyone like with enthusiasm. Let's grow. All right.
3, 2, let's grow.
Thank you.
3, 2, 1. Let's
go!
Thank you. Yo, good job. Let me get a photo of Mike. Good job. Mike, let me get a photo of Mike before we start talking to people. Yo, good job. Give me a photo of you. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Yeah, you bet. I'm gonna go next
Thank you, brother. It's still going, right? Okay. There you go. Tell our audience a little bit about your business and what do you think about today's event?
I think Mike was really amazing, and some of the things he talked about governance, and he actually talked about some of the things that I am aware of as a marketing professional about chunking and like breaking down the tasks and your goals into smaller, like bite-sized goals. So like if I want to grow my business from say $20,000 to $1 million, I have to look at the steps in making that happen. And that was amazing advice, because quite often when you go to these events and people talk about it, they don't actually give you gold. They just give you generalities and say try harder. This is something that you actually need to do. And there's a couple of very old books that I read that talk about conditions, and there's actually formulas in how to go to the next stage.
There you go.
So
thank you for showing up. And like I said, it's a pleasure. So your business is Victor.
My business is called Vector Colats, and it's a marketing startup. It's a marketing software startup. So what's going on in the tech industry right now is there is a huge shift going on from search engine optimization to generative engine optimization, and there's a lot of displacement happening. And also, old websites, like the way websites work right now, is changing. And so I'm actually in the process of making a new interface for websites and consumers and business owners.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. And like I said, she's a startup. Support her business. Anybody out there, where can they find you on LinkedIn?
So I actually am just, like I said, I'm new. And so my name is Tira Naprakova. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm actually just in the process of making my business page because I just finished my MVP, and I was not being public about this. This is the first time I've actually spoke about it publicly.
There you go. Thank you so much. I appreciate. Thanks for being here, Tara. Yeah. Oh man, JD. Hey, you got audience some feedback about today's event. What's one key takeaway you learned from today's event, bro?
The biggest takeaway I learned is you got to get on LinkedIn. That's like the online trade shows. Instead of showing up in person, you can show up every day online. It's another way to connect with other professionals, have a sense of community, and those connections that you make online, they turn to real life relationships. You just got to nurture them.
100%, man. And what was one thing that you're going to take today and apply to your business?
I'm going to start posting more on LinkedIn, and I'm going to have my business partners in mind instead of my consumers. And thank you to Hanny for putting this on. So persistent with this follow-up. You got Mike here. Let's go.
Oh, man. We got to tell.
So bad.
Yeah, we're actually live. We're actually live right now. We're live on YouTube. You're good. Yeah, we're live on YouTube. So tell our audience, Esther, what was your biggest takeaway from today's event?
Oh, in today's event, it was very, very powerful that you can build a business if you have only 4 mindsets. You need to focus on foundations like financials, operation, marketing, and sales. If you do that, the business is going to scale faster. And Mike broke it so well that if you think about doing a business, you just need to understand which areas you need to focus on, and you can keep growing one step at a time.
100%. And you're in finance, like you learn a lot from just a guy who was in a service business and been able to sell it and grow it. How are you going to take these things and apply it to your business, Esther?
Absolutely. I'm going to delegate some of the things, and I'm going to focus on working in the business and on the business at the same time so that I can scale it fast.
Thank you so much. Also, too, Esther is one of our sponsors. So if you're looking to grow your money, protect your money, she's definitely a person you want to connect with. She's very open-minded, and she's always about building relationships. She doesn't focus on transactions. She builds relationships, and she's been able to support the Hanny Lounge. I think you supported like 2 of our events as a sponsor. So we really appreciate, especially as a small business who's running these events. It's not easy. So for you to be able to give back, it means a lot. And I really appreciate it. It means a lot.
It's always good to give back. You know, every time you give back, it comes back in double portion. So
100%.
I'm happy with what you're doing. And let's come out and support each entrepreneur. We have a lot to learn from each other.
100%.
See you soon.
Thank you so much. We're actually on YouTube Live. I don't know how much the numbers are, but my brother, what's up, boy? Man, I see you walk in. I'm like, yo, who this guy? What's up, man? Yeah. Yeah. I want to do a quick interview with this guy because you're working on so many different things, but then we'll talk about.
I'm trying my best.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. So, what's going on, everybody? I'm here with today.
You're here with Bashir Mustafa, or Bash, as I'm popularly known as, I guess.
Awesome. What line of business are you? Who do you help, bro?
It's very interesting. I have a few things in a few places. In Nigeria, I do a lot of infrastructure, so energy, agriculture, real estate, water too. Like, yeah, I do some. Yeah, and I do general contracting as well. The name of the companies are Shangsat Nigeria Limited, Limax, New Power. Shangsat Nigeria Limited is a group of companies, you know, and we've been able to do quite well. Over here in Canada, I work in tech. I just recently got into commercial real estate, which is interesting. So in tech, I did a lot of UI, UX design and AI and automation for enterprise level companies. Now in commercial real estate, I'm trying to do mixed use, office and retail, and industrial. So,
awesome, bro.
Oh yeah, I own a clothing brand, 15 studios. I do it for fun. Yeah, I guess.
Man, you got a lot of things you're working on, bro. You're into fashion. What's one key to dressing nicely, looking good for all the males out there, man? We gotta get into our masculinity, man. They say, man.
Well, I feel that so many times we get it twisted. The whole point is to feel confident in what you wear and to not chase a trend, right? One thing that has really helped me is physical fitness. So if you look good, you know, usually whatever you buy fits you better in general. But in terms of being, should I say, a masculine man, you know, in 2026 is very subjective. But for me, you keep it simple and classy. On a very good day, if you wear a nice shirt, nice shoes, know how to mix colors, know your body composition or your body type, we have things to help us. We have AI now, we have Pinterest, you know, so you can never really go wrong. I'm not one to really advise people, but if you take inspiration from anything that I do, then by all means, feel free to use it for yourself.
100%, bro. Tell us, man, you're actually, whereabouts are you from? Where did you come from originally? Because I know your story. You came from China originally, and now you're Canada. What's the market like coming from over a different country to now in Winnipeg?
Yeah, well, I'm born Nigerian. You know, I moved to China at 18. I studied petroleum engineering. I needed to make my parents happy, right? So I graduated. I've always been good at school. I've not done anything to deserve that, but oh well. So after petroleum engineering, I got the opportunity to move to Beijing, and I started working as a foreign teacher. You know, I did that for a bit, and then I opened a company in China where I brought international students to China. It was my first introduction to commission pay. You know, for every year that they paid tuition, I got to pay from the university, and that was quite nice. You know, parents really trusted me, and my friend Karen Simon Guangshak is now the CEO of Shangsat Nigeria Limited, So we did that, and before you know it, it became, military contracts in Nigeria, subcontracting, and then eventually contracts, and general procurement and logistics too, right? So I never imagined I would be doing anything remotely close to what I'm doing right now with my life. I'm very lucky. I'm very blessed. The people that are not at my level I'm no better than them. And then the people that are better than me or have done more than me, they are no better than me, right? Yeah.
I like it, man. This guy is very passionate. He can go on for hours. Tell me, man, what was your one key takeaway from today's event, bro?
Well, I understand that, Mike is the star of the show. He has his new book, and he's done quite well in business. But business is usually heavily reliant on luck and, timing, right? So I have the perception that, opportunity, talent is distributed evenly across the world, but opportunity is not. He's someone that has happened to have both talent and opportunity. Now, there are so many people that will end their lives without having the opportunity. It doesn't mean their life is not a success. So if we base our life goals on the monetary value, we might be missing the point. But if I'm to talk about one key thing, is that, Hanny here organizes these things. If we could get the government of Manitoba, government of Canada to support what he's doing, to, get us maybe a better venue, bigger venue, more support in terms of the people that do the food, people that do operate the camera, like this, my guy here, that takes pictures. Even if they're to keep doing their job, if we can get them paid or compensated in a way, that would be nice. People like Mike that just pulled up here, he's done quite well financially. If he's able to invest in Hanny, it wouldn't be a bad idea, right? There's someone that is taking his time out of his regular businesses and his day-to-day to bring us together. So governments, business owners that have liquid, please, let's see if we can sponsor Hanny.
Bro, I really appreciate what you said. It makes my heart, because I put so much energy and effort into this, bro. Bro, I had to.
I've been watching him too for a while. I've been watching. At first, I was like, who's that guy? But he keeps showing up every day, and at some point, you cannot deny the discipline. You cannot deny the effort that it takes to do all of this. So yeah, you should give yourself some roses, bro.
100%, man. Like I said, I think we're just investing right now. We're in harvest. We're in just planting season. Eventually, I think it's gonna harvest. It's gonna grow. But at the end of the day, I think you have to have a vision. Someone has to see it, and if people want to buy into it, they buy into it. But you can't really convince them. You can't try to hard sell them, right? They're gonna see it one day, and I hope people are watching.
15 studios. I don't know if this video is gonna come out. When this comes out, let's see if we can get Hanny some merch, or maybe get his staff or team people some merch. I don't know how that is going to affect the budget. I know I'm not supposed to be doing this without asking you guys first. But yeah, if we can do anything to support, government of Manitoba, you guys, these are people that are not waiting for excuses, and they're doing stuff. Bro, let's do something. We can actually do it.
Bro, much respect, bro. I ain't gonna lie, you drop a lot of bomb, bro. I appreciate that, bro.
So I have to go now. No, I just wanted to talk to you.
You drop a lot of wisdom, bro.
Thank you so much.
How you doing? Nice to see you again. Yeah. So tell our audience, what was your key takeaway from today's event?
Oh my goodness, I'm blown. The power of LinkedIn is crazy, and I'm so thankful for Mike. So thankful for him. Yeah.
What was your what's one piece of advice that you got from today's event, and how are you gonna apply it into your business? Because I know you're in the financial industry.
Yeah. So the take home for me would be conscious of what happens in your environment. Make sure you're in the know, you're aware. That would make you more powerful, and you make more money. Yeah. Yeah.
And what's where are you originally from?
Nigeria.
And what's been the biggest mindset shift to get into business for you? What did you have to? What belief system did you have to get rid of?
I think I had a bit of cultural shock, but then I had to get rid of this belief that everything comes easy. Back home you have support from everybody and anybody, but here you have to work hard for the money, right? So that was the big thing, a cultural shock, like I said. So I had to unlearn some things and work really hard.
Thank you so much. Thank you for showing up. I really appreciate it.
Selling the lights, by the way, I'm an investment and wealth advisor. I'm also a brand and lifestyle influencer. Thanks for having me.
How can people find you?
I'm on Instagram at Ellen the Light, and on Facebook at Ellen the Light or Ellen Ogbaide.
Thank you so much. We're actually on YouTube Live, so we're live right now. God bless. I appreciate it. Yeah. There you go, man. Yo, we're gonna do a couple of testimonials and then kind of get things going. Hello. Gloria, how you doing? Do you want to do a quick testimonial for the Hanny Lounge? Your experience? There you go. Okay. One takeaway from today's event, Gloria. What's your one takeaway from today's event?
I took a lot of notes. I want to say, leading with your real story instead of your product or your service. I think that was a big one for me. I'm going to start doing that.
Nice. And how are you going to take some things you learned today and apply it to your life or to the business?
Well, can I refer to my notes?
Refer to your notes and tell our audience what you're currently working on as well too.
Okay, so I'm going to approach mentorship differently, right? Because today we talked about 3 types of mentors. Should I go through them?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So the old legacy type of mentor, the peer mentor, and I think you're going to be one of those. And then the mass mentor. I already have a few that I follow. So I'm going to apply that tonight. So
there you go. And tell our audience, you say you're a writer. To tell us a little bit about yourself and how people can find you as well too.
Well, they can find me on peneditmarketing.com. That is my marketing consultancy. And I write my own column on the magazine that I publish as well. But that's still a big project I'm working on, developing. So wish me luck. Yeah.
Awesome. You're a female entrepreneur. What is it like to be in a space like being a female writer? What's that like, especially being a black female writer? Tell our audience that's true story.
Oh my God. I don't know if it's that different from being a male black writer, really. I don't know. For me, I enjoy writing about real people, real places, like real life scenarios, because my background is in journalism. As a woman, I don't know if the difficulties that I face in my writing are related to my gender or my race. I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. I'm gonna think about that.
Where are you originally from?
I'm Rwandan. Yeah.
So how does history play into, let's say, writing your piece? Because there's a lot of history in Rwanda, right?
Yes. Yeah, we do have a very dark history, my country. We had the 1994 genocide against the Tutsis that has shaped, our parents, my parents' generation. I was born after the genocide, but it is a big part of our story, or shared identity. So it does affect me. I think it gives me perspective on resilience and transformation and how you can transform a generation. It's I think it's a big question, Hanny, but it's
so that right there is something you can write about. Okay, that's a big shift right there for you to look into. All right, Gloria, you have a good day. By the way, we're live right now on YouTube. There you go. A photo, yeah, for sure. Testimonials to wrap it up. You can buy it. Is the live still rolling?